Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you and know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjema, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a Spoon TV, you got a Spoon Radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon.
You want to get a news update, to spoon.
What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV.
Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV. Spoon.
Skidibidi dabado.
Spoon TV. Spoon entertainment.
Kua. Bese kua kutuleo. Kua kutuleo.
Todo spoon.
Yes,
Get your information. Todo spoon.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South Man. Charges on the beat.
Todo spoon. To get your information. Todo spoon. To be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you and know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjema, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a Spoon TV, you got a Spoon Radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon.
You want to get a news update, to spoon.
What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV.
Yes, what you got today?
Spoon School TV, school entertainment.
The spoon and your boy Friday the South man. Charges on the beat.
To the school to get your information. To the school to be part of my discussion. School television. School radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in
This is Spoon 107.5, and welcome to the program One on One with the CEO.
more.
This is where we have a one-on-one conversation with his guests, talking about key national issues. Today happens to be a wonderful edition where
You will know.
a stakeholder within the ruling establishment from the MPP angle will be the guest on the program today. Chief Ceebee Allen is going to be talking about issues emanating from the MPP convention. These and many more. We have Dr. Francine Chinere Richardson. She's in the US. James Goode Flomo is on the other end. My name is Rufus Devon Cannon, your sound coordinator for tonight's presentation. Before much I do, I love to say good evening. And I guess you have the afternoon hours on your end.
Yes, Rufus, how are you? How are you? Good day.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Well-
Everything is beautiful.
We're just grateful.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, I guess we'll wait for the CEO to come on. This is one-on-one with the CEO. Yes, here we are.
One-on-one.
Don't say nothing yet today about any football game here today. Don't even start.
No. I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Rufus, I like to
Yes, sir.
start up with a good father. Rufus is a good father. He make our days. My wife and myself, we woke up and we saw Rufus driving his two daughters around, and on the birthday of the other one, but Flavor in the back saying that I don't want to be on the camera. She's telling Rufus, telling her dad, she says she wasn't, please take me off. Are you live? Rufus said yes. She said, please take me off. I don't want to be. And so Lau said, but why can't he just take her off? Then Rufus, she ended up going to the back seat. She moved at the back of Rufus just to be off the camera. And it was so funny. Then she said, you know what? I want to eat fries and baked chicken. And the other little girl said, no, I want ice cream. I want ice cream. But Rufus, you're doing extremely well. That was a good morning video, And we tried to wish her happy birthday, but by then you guys went off. And I like, oh man, she just missed that birthday gift. So on behalf of Lawa and myself, we want to say happy birthday to her. And we're going to send our birthday present with us. She will be among God can bless anybody today. That was a good thing. Thank you for holding on as a father, for keeping on with the children. Two beautiful little girls, But Flavor Pie, I don't know about Flavor, man. Look like that's the trouble one right
Favor.
there. Favor?
Favor, yeah.
Yeah, Favor. I don't know about Favor. Probably she's the trouble one, and I see her giving you hell. But she's in what? 6th grade, right?
Yes, she's in 6th grade.
Yeah, but she wants cell phone. She asking you for a cell phone. I wish you luck. We passed that level. I wish you luck. Yeah. But that's Richardson. You're out there with your husband watching the game. And I think you had to leave because it's bad. 35-3.
It's what I say.
You wasted your time, your money just for them to beat your team. So Dr. Richardson husband is Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Took her all the way to go watch the game. And they're beating the team like Mikey Dog. You know the one who's saying like, bro, right? Like Mikey Dog. Buffalo get 35 and Pittsburgh got 23. Can you imagine? and they're about to add it up. They will beat them 50-3 today. Can you imagine what kind of game you go spend your money, your time, and they beat you like that? Dr. Richardson, please.
I have faith. The game is not over yet. It is over when it's over. So I have faith. But by the way, Rufus, I want to just tell you to tell your daughter happy birthday. I saw those beautiful pictures. You have beautiful daughters. They don't look like you, right?
No, the one in the back look like him. They look like they don't get along because they look alike. They just don't get along. That's what Lau was saying. Lau said something between these two. She
Yeah.
just can't get along. Yeah.
You know how it is. But thank you so much for sharing it with us. But I still have faith. The game is not over until it's over. You know, Stenta actually called to tease Abraham. So that's why when we started the show, I said, Stenta, I want you nothing about no game business. So
Ain't no
I knew
Fed.
you were coming.
Fed can't have that one. Fed, even if you bring Fed in, the Fed will run.
Now you talk
Rufus,
me
you see,
everything
Rufus,
you
you
be
see
telling us about
something.
faith.
Rufus, you see something. Sometimes Fed can help. Rufus, sometimes it's so bad that Fed cannot help.
Fed without work is dead.
It's dead.
So you must
But
work.
this one, they're trying to put in the work, but still it can't help. The work not adding up.
Echo.
You know, there's a part in the Bible that says, study to show yourself approved. A workman needed not to be ashamed, but rightly dividing the words of truth. So what's happening right now? The preparation was so poor. They didn't study. They didn't prepare the mind. So they're on the feet. Listen, a young quarterback, he just throwing interception, dropping the ball, and Buffalo just walking all over them like Mackie dog. You know, I would never put my money on Pittsburgh Steelers. For this season, they're done. They're done. They'll be 4-1.
Well, they've been good. They've won a lot of championships, so they've been good. So we can give them a break. You know, they lost a lot of good players too. So, but Abraham, I know he's the only yellow in a sea of red and blue.
You guys want the Buffalo or you want the Pittsburgh?
We're in Buffalo. The game is in Buffalo. Yeah, so
yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I stayed home. I didn't go. He went with my dad and brother. So,
but that's good. That's good. You do your thing, and no matter what you say, they're gonna beat them. They will beat them continuously, and I will be happy. I wish I had bet with Abraham. That was gonna be an easy $500 way.
Trust me, he's gonna call you. I'm sure
you know how to bet though. Rufus, you know how to bet. He can give you free $500, free nickel. So I wish I had bet with him. Folks, good evening. We got Chief Ceebee Allen coming in today from NPP. We told you guys something is about NPP, just not looking good. We're going to discuss national issue also. National issue, listen, I need not to introduce Chief Ceebee Allen to you guys. You know who he is. He will do his own introduction. We'll discuss national issue. We'll discuss the NPP, what's going on between Joe Howard Taylor and Jimmy, Senator Vinley, what's going on between them. The chairman and the standard bearer, the Supreme Court came down, I think August 4th, and said you cannot run for the third term as standard bearer. So, I mean, Ceebee Allen served as chairman before for this party, one of the founding members. So you got to understand that he coming with a lot to share with us tonight. Dr. Richardson, it will be very interesting. You know, folks waiting for Chief, according to Honorable, someone called him Chief. He have done a lot when you talk about agriculture. We're going to read some of the things that Ceebee Allen have done 10 years since he retired from government, but he still sits on the board of NASCAR as his chairman, I believe. I stand to be corrected. The man have 35 years services to the country, 35 years that Richardson. Now he's all into agricultural farming. He do the oil palm. They plant wet rice. I don't know. He have 504 plot of wet rice. He, you know, the rest requiring for the man is back to the soil. He will talk to us. You know, he talked about having 38 acres in cassava farm. He just education. He got a school from elementary to ninth grade. They have a coffee processing plants. He got some animals, cattle, 21 cows. You know, he got folks that he have hired 132 workers. He got clinics, all in Kakatown area. His clinic, 10 bedroom clinics. This chairman is doing something that we need to ask more question. We're talking about the government. You know, his party collaborating with CDC. So we talk about the government performance likewise. We also talk about the opposition, his take on the opposition, because some time ago he said the opposition were dead. Around January, Ceebee Allen said the opposition is a deadbeat opposition. So we're going to bring all this discussion forth today. We're going to have a good conversation. Invite your friends. This is one-on-one with the CEO. I like to have someone with me, and especially thanks to Dr. Richardson, who join me in every evening because we need somebody from the other side to just tweak it a lot and bring us different kind of question, you know, and calming the conversation when we're moving on another level. We want to say, please understand, the chief, Ceebee Allen, is in the house. We'll be discussing issue concerning Liberia, concerning his party, the National Patriotic Party, NPP, you know, concerning his collaborating group, CDC, concerning opposition, the way forward for Liberia through this rest crisis. I want to invite you, bring your friends, tell them Spoon Talk is on, share our program tonight. I want everyone to hear from Ceebee Allen. He been around for too long. He knows something to share with you today, something that will help you. We've been running up and down trying to understand who's this guy and what can he bring to the table. But he said, I'm retired. I'm retired and I'm going to do everything I can as a citizen of this country to help the system. So if we give him a chance, we will ask you guys to ask him some questions. You know, this is the Spoon Talk. Dr. Richardson, what you know, what I mean, your research on Chief Ceebee Allen before we bring him in. Talk to me a little bit.
I had the opportunity to watch the video, the YouTube he has, and exactly what you said, that he has a farm in the Konola area of Liberia. You know, he has all of these things that you mentioned, which is good. He is an active member of the NPP. And I just want to hear his side of the story regarding Liberia, his thoughts about his party, the collaboration, and also current issues that are going on in Liberia. So I mean, you said most of what I read about him. I read some other things about him too, but it'd be great to hear what he has to say.
And I definitely, I can't wait to have this interview with him because we got to take something. What's going on in NPP? We will play the clip before we bring in Ceebee Allen, folks. We want you to understand that some part of this thing is going down the wire. You understand that NPP and CDC, they are brothers and sisters right now in the collaboration. But we've been going through, listen, let's play this clip. We're bringing Chief Ceebee Allen to start the program. So please, just take a peek on this one.
I'm concerned if 2/3 of the.
Not this one, guys. Not this one.
I'm concerned if
All right, so the guy's going to get the right clip ready. When they were at the convention at the Painsbury Hall, somebody passed. We can confirm that somebody passed away. Person had a meaning heart attack, went to the hospital, couldn't make it. It getting intense between Jimmy, the chairman, and our vice president, who is the standard bearer of the party. We want to hear from Chief Ceebee Allen, and let's have this discussion. Rufus, let's bring in Chief Ceebee Allen, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the Honorable Ceebee Allen. It's good to have you in the Spoon Studio. For the first time in my life, it's good to have you. I'm just seeing you. And I have not spoken to you since I've been hearing of you, but this morning I was glad you called me. And thank you for accepting our invitation that we can discuss national issue, we can discuss issue within the CDC, the big CDC, and that of your party, NPP. I'm always like to say to you and all of our guests on the Sunday, I'm glad I'm always joined by Dr. Francine Chinua Richardson. Dr. Richardson helped us. She's been very instrumental in researching and bringing forth some tough questions. So we're glad to have you, Honorable Ceebee Allen. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I've always listened to Spoon Talk and listened to some of the arguments and discussions that you all have, and I was inclined to ensure that one day I'll make it to your studio and maybe share some of the views that I have and opinions and some impressions that I have about the future of our country.
Thank you very much, sir. It's very good to have you. At this time, it's 3:20. Yeah, Eastern Time, United States. That will be 7:20 in Liberia. We want to welcome every one of you. Our guest today, as I said, is Chief Ceebee Allen, former chairman NPP. Do you still serve as the chairman for the board of NASCO?
Yes, I'm still the chairman of the board of directors for the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation. I still serve as chair.
Thank you very much. I just want to be very, very sure with that before I end up giving you another position that is not yours. But let's talk about you before we get into the politics, before getting into NPP, before talking about, governance and the country at large. Let's talk about you, folks that have been following you. I mean, what have you been up to recently? What are some of your engagement? I write to our audience, 10 years retired, 35 years, your service to the country, and you can take it from there. Talk to us.
Well, I don't know where to start. I was more inclined to come and listen to the questions and respond to them. But briefly about myself, I would like to take it from the last maybe 10 years or so. I don't know whether I should go farther back, but I've served the country. I mean, let me go there too. I've served in the private sector. I did a graduate studies in insurance, and I served the Insurance Company of Africa for a number of years as a senior vice president and production and marketing manager. But let me tell you my public service. I served the public. My first assignment was officially managing director of the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company. I served also as chairman of the National Investment Commission. I served as president of the iron ore mining company Liminco for 2 years, and I served on several boards, International Airport. I served also some time ago as managing director of the National Insurance Corporation of Liberia, actually chairman of the board of NASCOP. And so, of National Insurance Corporation. I retired about 10 years ago, and I've been concentrating on my farm. Of course, I work along with the party as chairman of the advisory board of the National Patriotic Party and one of the founding members. And we make our contribution and our recommendation as things go on, and we are involved in the process always. So basically, we played a major role in the formation of the Coalition for Democratic Change, and we are part of that and remain a part of that until otherwise decided by the party, the NPP. But basically, if there are any other things that people would like to know, I'm very pleased to explain that. But what do you think is of importance? I came in here to discuss the issues of the of national issues and to discuss issues about the party and where we are. And that is what is important to me now. Details of myself, I think you can just Google me and you'll find out the details concerning the details surrounding me. It's nothing hidden.
Thank you very much, Honorable Allen. Thank you very much. It's important that we gave you the chance to do a little bit of intro, but it's true. Let's talk about your party, NPP. The party you helped shape, founded the party. You serve as chairman. What's going on with NPP today? Before we do that, though, I would like to read this. I received this morning, and I want to extend our deepest sympathy to the family of your party member. Uh, this is a position statement that was sent out today concerning the death of one of your partisans. And I will read it because probably it's not too clear for you. Uh, we we are asking all to join us in condemning in the strongest possible term the act of violence and disruption ensured at the National Convention hosted at the Painesville City Hall. We must stand in solidarity with all who made that effort to travel from across the country on treacherous road to exercise the duties to the party. We must do everything we can to prevent such act of violence in the future based on motives far from the interests of the party. Now, let me go down to the one that involved the death of one of your partisans. We are extremely shocked and deeply saddened to learn of the health-related death of partisan Francis Minwon at the ground of the convention. He was a dedicated partisan, a steward of the National Patriotic Party. On behalf of the NPP USA, we extend our deepest condolences to the family and friends and to all members of NPP. Oh, Lord. So, on behalf of this network, we extend our sympathy to his family likewise. This is heartbreaking for you, Chief Allen. One of your partisans fell short.
It is indeed heartbreaking and frustrating because Francis was at my house 2 nights ago, along with the leadership of Nepal. Those are the founding members of the MPP. Nepal, the MPP stemmed from the Nepal National Patriotic Association of Liberia, and Francis was a very prominent member of that. Francis was very active. He after the war, he went back to school and got a master's degree from the IBB, Babangida Institute, and he's been very active and he has not been well for the past few weeks, but I was happy to see him at the convention. We interacted, and they said they were going outside to take a breather when all this controversy was going on. And the next thing I heard about 45 minutes later was that Francis had collapsed, and he was rushed to the hospital. It's very most unfortunate that he lost his life in that manner, but that's life. We're all going one by one, and so we extend sympathy to his family, and I'm certain that the party will be involved in the ceremonies and normally go to Nimba County when our partisans die from whichever county. I go to that county and participate in the funeral ceremony. So I'm certain I'll be there for that. I'm sorry again to the family.
So thank you very much, because it was important that we recognize this, and this thing I will give you the time to speak to our audience and send your sympathy to the family on this public radio. So I want to say, just as a reminder, you are on Fabric, Support, and Spoon. You are on 3-4 different radio stations with all this uplight. Let me ask you, what's going on with NPP at the convention? A serious situation like we are speaking. Can you give us a little bit of overview? What's actually happening with NPP?
Let me take some time to give you a synopsis. Basically, let me take you back a few weeks ago. Basically, what has happened is to me, it's not too surprising because I'd anticipated that. I had been involved for the past 2 months in discussing between the national chairman and the standard bearer and making them to understand that the party interest is paramount. There's no other interest beyond that. Their individual interests and their ambitions and whatnot are secondary to the institution because there are so many people. You see, the MPP is a broad-based institution that is located throughout the length and breadth of the country. There are so many members who have been disillusioned, disenchanted. Even if you look at the political parties in Liberia, you find that most of the leading members of political parties are original members of the MPP, and most of them have disintegrated as a result of dissatisfaction, and maybe they have their own political interests. The party has been structured in a way that the Constitution is so firm. And look, I'll just give you a typical example. When it was time to enter into the coalition with the CDC and the LPDP, the executive committee at the convention in Buchanan had agreed that the party should proceed to coalition. But the constitution of the party did not allow that. So the party had to organize a constitutional convention in Bomi to amend the constitution to absorb the coalition. The party structure, the constitution did not allow for a coalition. That's how complex it is. And so with various and varying groups of people with different ideas, you find out that it is very difficult. The party is a very difficult party to govern. I had problems as national chairman when I was the national chairman. I served as secretary general and national chairman. And that's why me and former President Taylor had so much differences and disagreement, because I had to always speak to him as a national leader and let him know that the party interest is always paramount. And he himself never interfered with the operation of the party. Basically, he was always there for negotiations. I'll give you a typical example. When former President Taylor did not want Edwin Holler anymore as the chairman of the party and wanted a more dynamic person, it took 15 days at a convention at Hotel Africa for him to convince the partisans that he did not want that chairman. It's so complex. The party it's not a party with one tribe or one group. You see, the MPP is broad-based. Every tribe, every group, every section of the country is a part of the MPP. So it makes it difficult for one individual or one group to be able to sway the party to any direction. That's why most people have left the party and gone into various other political parties. You see, so basically what is happening now clearly is a disagreement between the national chairman and the standard bearer. But before I go into that, I'd like to make it very clear here that there's only one constitutional MPP, one, and there's one constitutional standard bearer, which is Joy Howard Taylor, and there's one constitutional national chairman, which is James Barney. Anything else to that, what has been done in the last few days, that could be considered as a convention, yes, but from where I stand, the party remains as it is. Either no one of them can take the party away from where it is. It is very difficult and very complex to understand. But what has happened now is you have two different groups of people named as leaders of the party. Yes, the decision initially was very clear that we would welcome, we'll have 301 delegates at the convention. But at that time, the standard bearer was not in the country, and she felt that when she came back, she felt that we should have another meeting of the executive committee and increase the number of delegates, which was all well by all of us in the party, because MPP have large numbers, and you have people from all over the country that would love to come and participate in the convention. Hence, there has not been one for some time. So it was welcome. The idea was embraced and everything to increase the number of delegates from each district and county. Basically, after that, we did not hold the convention again because of the same disagreement. And then they had to go to court. We went to court, and the court decided that the national chairman is the chief administrator of the party. And that the standard bearer did not have much to do with the day-to-day running of the party. But then the constitution of the party does say that the national chairman and the national executive committee will operate with the acquiescence and the information to the standard bearer. So people must have that. Anyway, to make a long story short, it was a difference between 638 delegates from the 15 counties and 73 constituencies, as opposed to 301 as proposed. The National Executive Committee agreed on both of them. Nobody can say that they did not agree on the 630. They agreed on the 638 and agreed also on the 301. But there was a provision. The provision was that a few days to the convention, apparently a week, a deadline was set for the raising of the funds for the convention. The budget initially for Bond County, a convention at Bond County, was a little over $100,000, which is a normal thing for the out of town people coming from all over the country. At that meeting, the standard bearer agreed that she would do 90% of the budget, and the chairman said he would do the 10%. Other collections and contributions that were made by people like us and others would be used for other reasons and purposes to accommodate and facilitate the convention. But as it was, the standard bearer was not forthcoming, and she did not come in time enough to be able to get the delegates and everything lined up. So the executive committee went on to inform the election commission and put out pronouncements to the public for the 301 delegates. It is a requirement by the National Election Commission that 2 to 3 weeks before your convention, you have to make radio announcements, public service announcements, newspaper publications, and all these things prior to the hosting of the convention. Inform the election commission so that they can have representation at the convention. All that was done, and then the decision was that if we did not have the funds on time by the National Executive Committee, that they will entertain 301 delegates. Actually, to be frank and fair, the funds did not come in on time. Be that as it may, when the funds came in, there was a discrepancy now. There was a matter of trust. And the standard bearer made it clear that she did not have confidence in the leadership of the party to manage the funds adequately. And so she wanted to have an additional signatory to the account, which was agreed. Basically, there was no reason why it should not have been accepted. So they embraced the idea. But then funds were not that, but they required that the individual that she was bringing have a what would you call a controlling signature. But the party constitution makes it clear that the treasurer, the party chairman, and the secretary general are Class A and Class B signatories. Now, it was not constitutional to have another signature added, and for that signature to supersede the signature of the national chairman and the secretary general. Be that as it may, the standard bearer went ahead without going through the party account, dispersed the funds to the treasurer. I mean, the treasurer, I think, not the treasurer, the financial secretary or something like that, and he received the money and started disbursing it directly to the county chairpersons, and that is outside of the party operation. At the same time, the National Secretary General was disbursing funds for the 301 delegates through the party structure. And so all that crisscrossed and brought about controversy. The 638 delegates came to town from all around, and the 301 delegates were also there. Now, there's not 638 plus 301. It is 301 plus 338 or something like that that ended up 638. So the original delegates of that came in from the National Executive Committee were 301. The additional delegates that had been requested by the standard bearer, I think, came out to 338 or something like that. So altogether would have formed a part of 600, would have made 638 delegates, basically. So initially, when the convention started, the 301 delegates were in, and then the standard bearer came in with the additional delegates, came in buses and pickups and whatnot, and they came in, and the standard bearer insisted that the gates be open for them to come in. When they was resisted, then that's when the force started, and they crack up the windows and all that, and the convention was disrupted as a consequence of that. So we all went outside. I mean, there was no need to be in there with this disruption. And then the convention never went on as we'd expected. After a few hours, that was when the standard bearer got in the party chairpersons and others, and they went out and made a pronouncement on what they refer to as black voting. and there's no such thing in the MPP constitution that call for black voting. There is a secret ballot as determined by the constitution. So that was where things went haywire, and it is still that way. Chairman Barney went on being acting in accordance with the Supreme Court mandate, giving him the right and privilege to take the party to convention. He and the Secretary General sat patiently and waited and convened at around 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and conducted a normal situation on what we call a convention, and went to elections and elected a Corps of Officers. By then, the Standard Bearer had already appointed a Corps of Officers also. So what I wanted to make clear was that the Standard Bearer was not due for elections at this convention. The Standard Bearer is one of the people that are in for 6 years, along with the Secretary General. So their convention, their election come up next year, basically. So I didn't see any need for re-electing the Standard Bearer for another 6 years. There's a very controversial point in there because the Standard Bearer position is reserved for 2 periods, 2 terms. And the Standard Bearer now have served the first term and is serving her second term, which will end next year. So it didn't make any difference whether she was the Standard Bearer from this convention or she was the Standard Bearer from the next convention. It didn't make any difference. She remains the Standard Bearer of the party, and we recognize her as that, and we support her as our Standard Bearer and give her the deference that's due her. So basically, that is where we are now. And from what I see and what I can tell the public is that a determination will have to be made by the National Election Commission. I'm certain it's going to go the way of the national chairman, because that was the ruling of the Supreme Court and the determination of the National Election Commission. So I know that there will be some decision taken by the NEC, and I think if people are not satisfied with that, then we might proceed to court again. So that is where we are with the thing. And if there are any specific questions or anything that I did not mention,
thank you very much, Chief. Thank you a lot, because one of the important things you just clarified, that this convention election was not about Madame Taylor, but Jewel Howard Taylor.
No. Those that were due for election was the national chairman and the 4 or 5 vice chairpersons. I think the treasurer and the vice chairman for finance. These were the people that are due. They have 4-year term. So the Standard Bearer, there was no need for the Standard Bearer to even be reappointed for another 6 years, because she still has 2 years in her second term as Standard Bearer. So it did not matter if there was any fear of being nominated as the vice Standard Bearer for the coalition. There was no fear, because she remained the Standard Bearer of the MPP, and I'm certain that it's already been clear that she would remain the vice running mate of President Weah.
So let me ask my second question, then we'll bring in Dr. Richardson. You went to the Supreme Court. On front page newspaper, the Supreme Court takes power from VP in NPP. We went through this as of August 4th, 22nd. What is about this ruling that you think, Chief Allen, the VP, she doesn't understand? What is about this ruling that is in controversial right now?
There's nothing that she doesn't understand. It is clear the vice president is a legal luminary. She's a lawyer, and she understands and she embraced the decision of the Supreme Court. I myself was in between and between, because I understand the running of the party. And I knew that former President Taylor, as Standard Bearer, never interfered with the running of the party. He could not, because we had a firm grip on the party as national chairman, and I had my county officials and Secretary General all in place. There's nothing that she doesn't understand about this. It is just I think the overzealousness and the overambition of the Standard Bearer. I will never denigrate her or in any way. She's the Standard Bearer. I acknowledge, I support her, and gave her kudos all the time for the good things that she does and criticize her for those things that are not expedient and are not rational. But she has nothing. Everything was clear there. The party chairman, the national chairman of the party, runs the administrative affairs of the party, and the national secretary general runs the day-to-day activity of the party. No one has to tell, even a rocket scientist. You don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that. It was clear. And her unwillingness to abide by the ruling of the Supreme Court is what is creating the type of discrepancy in the party. It's unfortunate that it is happening because we all have a lot of admiration for her and would hope that those people that surround her, that encourage this tendency for their own selfish reasons, should desist from that. I have nothing personal against any of them. They are all partisans of the NPP. All 638 delegates to the convention were partisans of the NPP and remain partisans. But we must conduct ourselves within the rule of law, and we must be guided by those constraints that govern human conduct. There are certain basic constraints, and there's nothing that's not clear about the Supreme Court ruling. There's nothing that's not clear too about the National Election Commission support for that.
Is she breaking NPP constitutional rules and policy in the sense that she's overstepping her boundary as a standard bearer by now appointing a new chairman, going against the party chairman, Jimmy? Is that something she's doing contrary to your constitution?
Yes, MPP is not one of those parties that you can do these things with and get by. It's not going to, I'm certain that it's not going to work. It's unfortunate that it was done without, I think she was ill-advised to have done that because it's not going to fly. The MPP will not accept that kind of leadership because it is not a majority support. You may say that a few county chairpersons under duress or under the promise for funds or money or whatever went ahead and signed, but it doesn't work. You cannot appoint the national chairman of the MPP. It's not one of those parties that is being run by a political leader. It's a party that has a broad-based structure, and it's unbecoming. But I'm certain in the next few weeks, days ahead, you will see some results coming from the Election Commission and maybe from the Supreme Court or other courts again. But there's no reason for us to go there. I think we should review what we have had as a convention and set ourselves ready for moving forward, because I think there's an election that was held, even though there's some partisans are still disgruntled and dissatisfied about the manner in which the national chairman and the Secretary General conducted the election there, but it was free, fair, and it was open, and those who participated won, and I think they are all happy with that. But be that as it may, there will still be some questions about that.
So, Dr. Richardson, I beg just one more from my end. Chief Ceebee Allen, who do you recognize?
Yes.
The appointed chairman by Standard Bearer Joe Howard Taylor or Jimmy?
No, there's no way that I will recognize any chairman that is appointed, and I hesitate also to recognize any. I recognize James Barney as a national chairman, and not because of the elections they had at this convention, but by virtue of the fact that he is national chairman. Whether the results of this election is accepted or not, Barney remains national chairman of the party. And whether the results of this on the other side is accepted or not, Dr. Joe Howard Taylor remains the standard bearer of the party. You have to look at it that way. That's what it is. There's no biting lips about that. That's the reality. So to ask me a question like that is direct. I don't recognize any of the elections that were held at the convention. At the convention, I would hope that if the Election Commission recognizes any of those leadership, I will be constrained to support them and follow them.
Thank you very much. So let me bring in Dr. Richardson.
Are we clear on that? I
Yes,
support
sir.
the party. I don't support the individuals. I do not support the standard bearer in what he did, and I fairly partially support the national chairman because he went through the constitution of the party and operated in line with the Supreme Court ruling, and that is effective.
So are you saying that you do not recognize, you would not accept the result of the convention, this most recent convention at the Painesville Town Hall? Do you accept the results?
The results of the convention came in two folds. You are talking about two different results. The announcement of the standard bearer is not acceptable to me. What I accept is the democratic process that went on under the guidance of the Secretary General and the National Chairman. So I would recognize that quicker because I'm certain that that will be recognized by the National Election Commission.
Thank you very much, Honorable Allen. And now you make it clear for a lot of folks. Dr. Richardson?
How are you doing, Mr. Allen? It's good to have you here at Spoon. Can you maybe tell us what is the fear that is motivating Vice President Howard to bring in her own delegates and also to announce her own chairman when your party constitution dictates that there is a current chairman, as you are saying, who is Bonnie? Is there a fear that you can elaborate on that you know of?
No, I don't think she has any reason for fear. The reason why she should not have any reason for fear, if there is, because I mean, from what they did, it makes me feel, and exactly your question, that there must have been a fear. There must have been some apprehension for the standard bearer to say that she's elected for another 6 years, knowing that that is in violation of the party constitution. She's entitled to 2 terms, and she has 2 more years in her second term. If the need arose where we needed to give her a 3rd term as standard bearer because of reasons of the governance and all that, it is easy. At the end of this convention, when elections are done, as part of our resolution will be to have a constitutional convention, which we could have within the next month or 2, a constitutional convention with sufficient delegates, and we could go in there and revise our constitution to accommodate a standard bearer for an additional term. That's easy to do. We've been doing things like that in the party to accommodate the interests of the party and the interests of our partisans. So there was no such fear to go out of the constitutional line to go and appoint a national chairman, appoint vice chairpersons of the party, and appoint county chairpersons also that are not due for elections until next year. Appoint the Secretary General that is not due for election until next year. This is really going beyond bounds, and I was very surprised. I have nothing personal against the standard bearer. As I told you, I support her, but I do not support these kind of actions because they are arbitrary actions that can bring the party to disrepute and make people think less of our party than what we are. You cannot have one individual come in hand-picking people and call them national chairman of the NPP. NPP is too strong and too broad-based to accommodate, to entertain that, such substandard political dynamics.
Have you heard any dissatisfaction with the standard bearer that might contribute to her handpicking the people that she thinks might be in favor of her policies versus the current core of leaders?
Yes, I do. I know that the standard bearer has apprehensions with the Secretary General. There have been disagreement over a long period. She feels that she's not respected. Her views are not heard. And I think to a certain extent, she's been ignored by the leadership of the party. I think we should get her more involved in the decision-making process and make her part. But she cannot dominate the leadership of the party because it's never been the history of NPP for the national chairman and secretary general to be dominated by the standard bearer. It's unacceptable for her to adopt that posture because she knows that she will be accommodated at all levels with the party. Yes, I think she harbors a fear because there have been some partisans who have been very disrespectful to the standard bearer. I must tell you, people, and I've always admonished them as chairman of the advisory board that it is unacceptable for us to denigrate or insult our standard bearer and expect other people to respect her. Our partisans must be disciplined and must understand that besides being the standard bearer of our party, she's the vice president of Liberia. And we put her forward for that position. So we should respect her position at all times and give her deference. especially in the decision-making process. But she have had her apprehensions, she have had her dissatisfactions, and also when I arrived at the convention, I just give you a typical example. When I arrived at the convention yesterday, I noticed that there was a stalemate. So I went into the standard bearer office and I said, "Madam Standard Bearer, can I invite the national chairman? Can I invite the national chairman to come and speak with you so that you all can harmonize this so that we can go into the convention hall as one?" She agreed. And I went into the national chairman and I said, "James, you have to come with me now." I held him by the hand and let's go and meet the standard bearer in the back room there and try to hang head and see if we can make the image of the party, if we can protect the image of the party. And he agreed. And the national chairman took my hand. He followed me. I was taking him into the into the standard bearer office, and his supporters and a bunch of partisans grabbed him back and pulled him back into the conference hall and said, "You're not going anywhere. We're not going to allow you to do this because we listened to a tape where the standard bearer says she's coming to hijack the process and appoint a party leadership." And that is also one of the reasons why the partisans were very, very apprehensive on the convention day, because they had listened to this tape by the standard bearer in a small clique meeting where she had said that she's going to disregard the process of the convention and go ahead and do exactly what she did. And so, I mean, I didn't take that seriously. I never thought that would happen, but it happened right there, and the recordings are there, and people can listen to that. But that does not speak well of the vice president. It doesn't speak well of the dynamics of the MPP. And we hope that it will be reversed and that we'll go through the right procedure as the national chairman and secretary general did, and we can harmonize it between ourselves and among us in the party. It can be harmonized. It's not, our party is not going to split because of that, because no one is going to follow. If Barney split on one side, no one will follow him. If Standard Bearer Howard Taylor split one side, nobody's going to follow her. The party is going to remain at the dead center, because the party is guided by the constitution of the party, and neither of them can swerve the party in their direction as an individual. They don't have such muscles, and they don't have the capacity to do that. Neither of the two of them.
So can I ask one more question, Stanton? So,
yeah, sure.
So with all this wrangling going on within your party, you are part of the coalition. How does it affect your membership to the coalition?
Well, I'm not of the impression that it's going to affect us in a big way, because the party has agreed in principle to continue to support the coalition. So yes, we have agreed in principle to do that, and a committee, each of the sides appointed a committee to review the agreement with the aim of getting better terms and conditions for the party. You see, the partisans have been dissatisfied because of how the appointments in government went in the last 5 years. And so there's such dissatisfaction creating the type of bottlenecks and difficulty in the governance structure of the party. But be that as it may, the partisans are still committed to being a part of the coalition. You cannot be in 12th grade and ask them to demote you to 10th grade. So you're already in state power. And what we do is to plot a new mat using the old mat. Yes, we have experiences from the coalition as we went for the last 5 years, but we think that a committee setup can sit with the other members of the coalition and draft an agreement that would be satisfactory to the three parties or other parties that might join. So it's not so much out of order. But basically, yes, according to your question, and my answer is clear that to a certain extent, yes, it's going to affect our membership with the coalition. Not in that it's going to diminish what we have as a party. We bring numbers, democratic numbers, and we bring administrative superstructure throughout the country. The MPP is well situated with our structure throughout the country. That during the coalition campaign the last time, we used the structural base of the MPP as a means of elevating the coalition in various counties and districts. So the strength of the party is still there and deeply rooted in the counties. So But the leadership crisis in there between the national chairman and the standard bearer is very crucial for them to be united. And the advisory board have been fighting. I'll tell you, I've made all efforts to make sure that the standard bearer and the national chairman are on the same wavelength. It seems as though it's very difficult. And to have two of them as from the Senate and leaders of the country to adopt that divisive posture is unbecoming and it's unacceptable to the partisans. The partisans don't like that because it makes our party look divided. It makes us look like we are a young upcoming party, and this is one of the oldest political parties in the country, a party that have still had state power and still enjoying the benefits of state power. So we have to try to keep our partisans together and try to maintain harmony and stability in our party. That's not doing well for us at all. And I want to, in this public manner, call on my standard bearer and the national chairman, Barney, to consider that the interest of the party is paramount. And they are not going anywhere without the party. The party have made the both of them who they are today in the country. And they must try to let people respect the party for what it is and not let people think less of the party than what it actually is. That's my concern as chairman of the advisory board.
Also, Chief Allen, when will be the convention next year concerning the standard bearership?
The convention for next year would be next year, December.
Okay, so therefore,
Was that your question?
That's my question. That's my question. One of our followers asking you this question because they're wondering whether she will be representing NPP as a vice stand-up bearer to President George Manawia in the upcoming election.
Well, yes, but it does not mean our agreement does not say that the vice president of the country must be the standard bearer of the NPP or another political party. It says that the standard bearer of the coalition will nominate from one of the other parties his running mate. So whether or not the standard bearer is the standard bearer of the NPP, if the president is comfortable with her, she will still be nominated as the vice running mate, and the NPP will still support that still support her through the coalition. So it didn't matter. I felt that she went a little overboard to try to give herself another 6 years. That's unconstitutional. It does not speak very well of her because she does not need to do that. It's quite clear that President Weah will have indicated beyond all reasonable doubts that he still intends to maintain the structure and to maintain the vice president. So there's no fear of being the standard bearer of the NPP or not. That's the point I want to stress here. If there was such apprehension spread by some of her supporters, then I think she listened to them wrongly because it does not matter. She's still going to be a standard bearer after the elections. And
definitely because the election is October, so you're quite correct for clarifying. But do you think, as per the constitution, the NPP constitution, she should only serve 2 terms, correct? 2.
Yeah.
As per the current constitution.
The 2004 constitution that we are operating on now gives her 12 years, two 6-year terms. Because our constitution worked in line with the constitution of Liberia that gave the presidency 6 years. If you are the standard bearer of the party and you are in state power, you have 6 years. So we give the standard bearer 6 years, and for continuity purposes, the Secretary General has 6 years. The national chairman has 4 years.
Will she be qualified to contest? Will she be qualified to contest for the 3rd term? Or you are saying that except you guys amend the constitution?
Unless we do as we did for the coalition, unless we adjust the constitution. You see, because it's easy for us at the advisory board to advise. If we go to elections and the coalition wins and she's vice president of the country, she remains the standard bearer of the party. If we have to adjust our constitution to support her standard bearership for a 3rd term, we'll do that. It will be incumbent upon us to do that because, you cannot be given A and you say you want B. So basically, that could be done because it is the party decision. It is a democratic decision that could be taken. Just how many partisans opposed the idea of being part of a coalition because they did not understand. They thought that the MPP would lose its essence as a party and become amalgamated with another political party indefinitely. We had to explain that at the Constitutional Convention that we remain an independent entity as MPP, but we are entering into a coalition with other political parties for the democratic process. And so that clarity allowed the partisans to support the vote for us to embrace the coalition. And we changed our constitution to adapt to that. There's nothing that's written in stone. If we are happy with the standard bearer of our party being the vice president and a nominee, and victory comes in the elections, we will be happy to extend a term or just acquiesce on it for the next 6 years. But to be scared, like I said to the standard bearer, there's no need. And with the type of ego you have to be afraid of every little rush that is running around, you cannot diminish your image like that. You see, you cannot jump at every little thing, every little comment that comes from somebody, you want to respond to it. I'm thick-skinned. I mean, as a politician, you have to be thick-skinned. I mean, sometimes there are certain things that you ignore. You cannot take everything for face value and act upon it. Now look at the type of action that was taken at the convention. It's so disgusting, I would say, because to stand in the public without you have the town hall there, and for the standard bearer of the party and the vice president of the country to stand out in the open and make a pronouncement of handpicking a national chairman and vice chairpersons and all that, I don't think it's undemocratic. And if we subscribe to the democratic tenets, and we are part of a democratic institution, so we cannot adopt that posture because it doesn't speak well of the party.
Well, is NPP now in line with Liberty Party? We are looking at similarities, though. Standard bearer making appointments and standard bearer changing the Constitution, going to the Supreme Court disagreeing with the standard bearer and all. Your party, NPP, is that party in line now with Liberty Party?
Well, I don't think it's the same scenario. There are two different scenarios. You have to look deeper into what is transpiring to understand that there's a big difference in the two scenarios. The NPP is one party with one constitution, one standard bearer and constitutional standard bearer, and one constitutional national chairman. There's nothing similar to that of the Liberty Party. But we continue on that divided line. There are similarities because once a political party is semi-split or split along those lines, then you can say that there are similarities. Because division is division. If one party is divided and the other is divided, they are both divided. So I would accept that scenario under that understanding. But practically, those are two different scenarios.
What, as a chairman for the advisory board, what's your next message out there to Jimmy and the VP? What are you planning to do? Are you calling them for the closed door meeting? You and your team, are you guys going to intervene prior to going to the National Election Commission?
Yes, we have made all efforts to do that. We are continuing tomorrow to see if we can harmonize it. People are going on already, adopting the posture of chairman and having meetings and all that already. But the decisions would have to be made. If you want to adopt take yourself as a child and be instructed by others, you have to be. If you want to be directed by others instead of using your constitution to direct yourself, then it would happen, like it was in the case of the Supreme Court ruling. And if you do not follow the rulings of the court, then there are consequences. So we have to look at that also and try to put our party together. My quest to them is that you have to bury the hatchets and forget about your personal ego. And those who are supporting each of the sides in the conflicts, you desist from doing that because there are no sides. The NPP is one institution. I do not support any of them. I've told them over and over from the beginning that the both of you are proceeding wrongly. As national chairman, you have to open up and keep in constant, continuous contact with the standard bearer. But as standard bearer, you have to open up too and keep in constant, continuous contact with the national chairman, because there's no need for you two to be divided, because you cannot divide the party. Either of you leave the party now, the party will stand where it is. The party is not going to follow any of you. None of you have the capacity to carry this party anywhere. You may go and impress your supporters or people that you're working with for your own personal reasons, that you have the capacity to do that. But MPP is not one of those parties that any leader, any individual can just stick to one side or another side. They've seen that over the years, and most people have left the party and formed another party and become leaders of other political parties because of their inability to swerve the MPP from where it is. MPP stands in the center and abide by its constitution. And any attempt to violate that constitution can meet up with obstacles.
Is it true that there was no setting up of any election committee by the NPP constitution? You guys had a committee?
Yes, there was a committee set up, but you see, what happens is this, and that's another way thing there. When you operate in secrecy, and I hold that against the National Secretary General, because these kind of things should be public documents. When you haven't been preparing for a convention, everything should be open. There's not a social club. This is not a tribal organization. It is a broad-based political party. The constitution of the party tells you how committees are formed, who sits on those committees, and when the committees should be formed. The party constitution also gives you the agenda for a convention. You cannot draw up your own agenda. There is a set agenda by law of the party on how to proceed to convention. And I don't think, and I have to be fair to the standard bearer and others, that the steps were not taken to avoid that. Now, the information was not properly disseminated. I saw a copy of the souvenir program when the standard bearer gave it to me in her office after I arrived at the convention. And she had just seen it for the first time. And you should, well, you know, when we have to talk so, and like LeBron people say, you have to talk so and talk so. You see, you have to be a national leader. In leadership, you must make sure that others who are part of your institution have information, sufficient information to be able to make recommendations. I saw certain things in the souvenir program. I was just looking at it last night, and I saw many things that could have been corrected. Maybe if they had shared it with the standard bearer and other members of the party, maybe we would have corrected that, and she would have felt a part of the convention, and maybe she would have played a different role. But to isolate and keep these things secret brings about apprehension. And you can understand why the question that Dr. Chinaway asked, or Richardson asked, is quite clear, because you have apprehensions when you're not informed. You see, a lack of information and improper dissemination of information have a tendency to make people feel that they are not a part of something, and they resent it and resist it. The vice president had sufficient force, both financial and paramilitary force, to be able to disrupt the program. So, and she succeeded in doing that, maybe because she was ill-informed.
Oh, okay, Dr. Richardson.
Yes.
Just on this convention, because we got to move on to other issues. Yep.
Absolutely. Just one last question here. It is obvious that your convention, ended up in conflict. Okay. So my question to you is, how do you guys move forward? What recommendations would you make? You have made some, but what would you recommend for your party to move forward? You especially according by the Constitution.
Well, the recommendation is very clear that we would move according to our party constitution, and we'll invite maybe the National Elections Commission. Because you see, after conventions, what happens is that after convention, a set of resolutions are submitted to the National Election Commission, and the list of officers elected are also submitted to the National Election Commission. Mm-hmm. The National Election Commission had observers at the convention. So they will make a determination on the documents they receive. We cannot jump the gun and begin to discuss anything. We will wait until these submissions are made to the National Election Commission, and the National Election Commission will respond. When they have given us the type of response that the party needs to work with, then we'll use that as a guide to be able to to initiate discussions and whatnot. But until then, the two, I'm sure that the standard bearer will submit what she did to the election commission. And the national chairman also that conducted the convention will submit his results and set of resolution to the National Election Commission. And it will be very clear that the National Election Commission will receive it and act on it. And after their action, we can be able to make adjustments within and begin to discuss and open up new avenues to guide the party in the right direction.
So just
does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Lastly, on this convention issue, I'm receiving information that a fraudulent result, 11 counties walk out and refuse to participate. Was that true?
No. I think we have to be fair with that statement. That's wrong, because 11 counties were induced into signing a resolution to appoint those people that were appointed by the standard bearer, because several of the county chairpersons came to me as their advisor and said, Mr. Advisor, we are supposed to sign a resolution that's coming up in the next 1 hour. I said, what is the resolution about? He said, this resolution is going to keep me as party chairman, as county chairman for 6 years, and keep all the coordinators in for another 6 years. I said, are you sure about that? He said, yes. I said, well, what are they offering for that? They were offering what? $600 per county chairperson.
Wow.
They were receiving $600 each to sign this resolution appointing these people as, and you can't do that. It's not it's undemocratic. This is cash violence. You don't do that.
So who was offering the $600? I'm sorry to interrupt. Who were offering the $600?
They were being offered that by the vice by the standard bearer, because she was the one inviting them outside to come and sign this document and to sign this resolution. And those people who lured the standard bearer into this type of gangster tendency, it's unacceptable. You don't do that. I told the chairperson, I said, go and sign the document, receive your $600, because that thing is not going anywhere. You cannot deprive yourself of $600 free money that's coming and go and sign it. But no one is going to accept that. And most of them went out. 3 or 4 of the county chairpersons said they would not compromise the party constitution, that money can stay. You don't offer people. You see, those kind of things are unbecoming. We don't want to bring this to the public event, but that's what happened. You see, to say 11 county chairpersons walk outside, yes, I mean, it's incorrect. It's not correct. 11 of the county chairpersons not appear for the democratic process under the national chairman, because they had already committed themselves to signing a resolution or appointing another chairman, which they know was unconstitutional. Each of them is aware that's unconstitutional. MPP don't vote in block. There's nothing like block voting. The Constitution does not even allow for that. So how can you do something that is not part of the Constitution and expect, something that's not legally done is not done at all?
So Chief Allen, I beg you to Richard, this is getting interesting.
Right.
We have 600 United States dollars moving around for signature, and you are confirming to our audience that the 600 were actually given by the vice president to those folks. Take the 600 and sign on the document. Just to be clear.
Yes, because the chairpersons from the counties came to me, about 3 or 4 of them. I said, what are you telling me? Is it true? I said, go and verify it. Go and find out whether it's true. And to my surprise, I think it was true, because they never came back to me to say they were not signing. You see, so, I mean, this is clear. I mean, these things happen at the convention. That should not happen. I was very upset when I heard that, because, the democracy is not by force. Our standard bearer is loved. I mean, she's received by the party and welcome, and we support her and respect her. To have a handful of people around you trying to push you into doing things of that nature, or making such offers or whatnot, it's unacceptable. And our standard bearer did very well to provide the funds for the delegates to come. I was very supportive of 638 delegates. Believe me, I was, because MPP is a mass-based party. The larger the number of people, thank God they didn't say that MPP was short of people to come to their convention. In fact, it was over the convention. You had thousands of partisans there, of which I was supportive of 638 because it shows some democratic numbers. But then when the decision was made by the National Executive Committee to adopt 301 delegates, I felt, well, the 301 will make decision for and on behalf of all of us. So whatever was constitutional should be acceptable. But you have to be fair too. The National Executive Committee did also approve 638 delegates with a condition that the funds will be provided into the party account for disbursement to the delegates. If that was done, there would have been no problem. But the money was not disbursed in the party account. However, the money was disbursed to an individual to pay to the county chairperson to bring their delegates. So when the delegates came to Monrovia, I told the national chairman on the night before, I said, well, if we have 638 delegates coming and they've not paid their way to come to Monrovia already, we will proceed to open the convention with all 638. That's my advice. Open with all 638 delegates so that nobody feel not a part of the party. Welcome all of them. And they had asked me to make the keynote statement. I had prepared for it. I never made it, but I was going to welcome all of them, invite all of them to participate and whatnot. And at the time of the break, when they go out for lunch to come back for the convention, then we welcome in the accredited delegates of 301 to conduct the business of the party, while the other partisans will be around. And at the closing ceremony, we invite all of them in again, for the closing ceremony. That is how these things are done. That's how we have done it over the years at various conventions. We invite 1,000 delegates, but we have 250 or 300 of them that will deliberate on the interests of the party, get some resolutions, and at the end, we also bring them in for the closing ceremony. This is how these things are done. But when people adopt their own way of doing things, it starts looking ugly. And it looks ugly to me.
Ceebee Allen, please. We got to get this on the record. We got to be very, very. The 600 600 USD given to delegates.
It was not given to delegates. It was given to, according to them, it was given to the county chairpersons to persuade their delegates to sign.
Isn't that a pay to play? Isn't that a form of corruption? Are we missing something, Ceebee Allen?
You're not missing anything. I'm telling you that such acts are unbecoming of the MPP. It doesn't happen, and it should not happen. And if it happened, it should not happen.
Wow, that's a
yes, there were funds given to county chairperson.
Yes, just sticking to the same line that Stanton asked. You described this as cash violence, pay to play, gangster behavior. And my question to you that your standard bearer is the vice president of the Republic of Liberia. How do you think that this represents any type of good governance practice and any type of governing practice?
Well, I say very clearly that I do not know the vice president to have that kind of character. I know her to have an unblemished character, and that's why I've always supported her in the process. And that was one of the reasons why she was nominated as vice president. But when such things come to the public glare, there's a recording. There's a recording that I heard my standard bearer speaking, and it shocked me. Even though I dismissed it, because when I got to the convention, I went straight to her and said, listen, let me call in the national chairman so that you all can deliberate. She agreed. I went to the national chairman, he agreed. And we're going to discuss and try to, the normal thing that like me and former President Taylor used to do before the convention, you go in the back room and have a clear understanding of how you're going to, conduct things. That's leadership. And you come in there and implement according to what you have discussed. And that's what I thought would happen. But that never happened. And that exacerbated the situation, And to answer your question, yes, I mean, such tendencies are unacceptable. The fact that county chairpersons were induced to sign a resolution and to encourage their members and delegates to sign a resolution of that nature, I think it is unacceptable. It's not good practice, and we should desist from that.
But also to be fair on the show from our end, you had a conversation that you talked to Madam VP, just to clarify that the $600 never came from her. You had a chance to talk to her on this
No, I
money
didn't.
issue.
I haven't had the chance. I haven't had the chance to speak to the standard bearer since she announced this list of people and had herself sworn in. I mean, I don't understand that. What was the need of getting someone to swear you in as standard bearer of the party? What are you demonstrating? Who are you trying to impress with that? Why are you showing such things that were not necessary? You are not due for election. No one is struggling with you for the standard bearership. No one is interested in it. We've given that office to you as our leader. So why is there an argument whether or not they wanted you to be standard bearer? Why did you have to allow yourself to be sworn in by a quasi a set of resolutions? It diminishes the type of respect and credibility that we have for our standard bearer. It was demeaning. And I want to register that. And that's why when you invited me on the show, I wanted to come in to try to stress some of these points so that people understand that the process of democracy does not work like that. I studied political science. I'm a graduate in political science, and I've been in political leadership for over 35 to 40 years, right from way back from the Moja days to the movement of justice in Africa and all that. Student leadership at Covington and LU and forming political parties at these institutions in the early 70s. In 1970, we formed the Student Unification Party at LU. In 1972, after I matriculated to Covington, we formed the Covington United Party at Covington University College. And we have been forming the National Patriotic Party and been active in politics for almost 40 years now. Why dare we be a part of an institution that will be conducting itself in that manner? Why should we allow our institution to deteriorate to that extent where you have to call a county chairperson, have to know that there's a dubious act to nominate a chairman? And why should they be exposed to that type of tendency? These are young, upcoming politicians that want to have a future in the country. Do they adapt themselves in that manner? Is it proper? Our partisans were not trained in that way. We have a democratic process where people stand online and vote with a secret ballot and vote for their leaders. And we all join and support the leaders after they are elected at the convention. Most of these people were elected at a convention, except there is a discrepancy, and then some other county chairpersons were elected within time. But we do that at conventions. You can't satisfy that. You cannot have a result. It's the first time in the history of MPP that we have had two different results from one convention. 1 day convention. We have had 15 days conventions. We have had 12 days conventions. We have had constitutional convention that lasted for 4 or 5 days. We never had two results. We never had any group of people handpicked. We never had to induce any county chairperson to come and sign a resolution. So why are we going down that route now? Is that the type of standard that the Madam Vice President want to bear? Is that the kind of leadership that the national chairman wants to have? I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm sorry. I always tell people I call spade, I call AA. I'm not a man who, none of these people can do anything for me or to me. I'm an independent, self-made man, and I speak my mind. And I don't like this type of tendency of denigrating this institution that people bled for. People died. Thousands of people in Liberia died during this revolution, and this party was formed. State power, lost state power, tried to regain it by a coalition, come back to the full of political leadership, and you have it diminished by the individual desires of one or two individuals. The lives of people are on the line. Young generation of people that are coming up, they want to see good examples. And we cannot lead them in that manner. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah,
It's okay. It's all right, Dr. Chief Allen. Go ahead, Dr. Richardson.
and Mr. Allen, I do hear your cry, but this is why when I want to go back to the question that I asked you earlier about how does the behavior at your convention affect our national politics? Because your standard bearer is just not your standard bearer. She is the vice president of the Republic of Liberia, and so here it is. You're telling me cash violence occurred, pay to play, gangster behavior occurred at your convention, and Liberia is on mark for having high corruption in our country where people are being sanctioned. And so you're announcing at least three persons came to you and said that the vice president was involved with giving $600 or issuing $600 where people had to sign for. So how do you think that this behavior reflect on the issue of corruption in our country and our government at large?
Well, you can make your own evaluation on such actions. My view about this is very clear and straightforward. I do not believe in that concept. I do not support it, and it's not the function of, it's not how MP, it's not the standards that MPP has, and have never demonstrated that. I'm not referring to individuals. I do not cry down the standard bearer in any way, because I know her character. I know what she stands for. But I'm surprised that she has a group of people who are cycling around her that would encourage this type of tendency. It's unacceptable, because it tells on the institution. It tells on the to a certain extent on the national government. In fact, yesterday after the convention, when I came back, I sent a text, a WhatsApp message to the president, and I said to him, I said, Mr. President, I like to complain to you. I am never in the habit of complaining about anyone to you, but I have to complain to you because I think the convention of the MPP was disrupted by your vice president. And she should not have adopted to come in with a group of people and bust the gate open and push people in and break up the windows at the Pinsville Town Hall. I mean, she didn't do that herself, but the people that she encouraged to do that did that. And that's what I refer to as gangsterism, not her as a gangster, but this act is an act of gangsters. A gate is closed, you have security personnel there, the national police is there, you come and push the gate open and force a whole bunch of people from buses and trucks into a convention hall where peaceful people are sitting down. I did not intend to be, to be this harsh, but since you have raised the issue, we must discuss it in full. And people must understand that I have nothing personal with any of these partisans. They are all partisans. They are all my junior. They are all part of a second generation of party leaders. You see, the vice president is a second generation of party leaders. So is Chema Bani. And I think that this generation of leaders must conduct themselves in a proper manner. They must be united. There's not unity between the national chairman and the standard bearer. That's creating all this fracas in the party. And we've been asking them ever since to try to harmonize in the interest of the party. How do you expect to be a part of state power, to assume state power in contemporary Liberia, when you don't want to adopt the posture of a national leader? This is questionable. We have to adapt. Yeah, because we are getting older now, and our generation spent years and years creating an unwarranted atmosphere for the citizens of this country. I always tell people our generation of leaders will go down in history as the most destructive generation of all times. Why? Because it was during our time that you had riots, you had strikes, you had civil commotion, vandalism, malicious mischief, and all during our administration and during our time from the 70s. We went to school peacefully in Liberia as young people. We had scholarships to go abroad after we graduated from college. We had the USIS library. We had the Football Foundation. We had student exchange programs with other countries and whatnot, interaction. We were sure of the graduate schools we were going to when we left college. We came back with our over-ambition and desire for power. We started fighting. We started thinking about strikes. We started fighting with each other. Alhaji Krumah fighting Taylor, and Taylor fighting Bole, classmates and schoolmates. We're all We broke down the infrastructure of our country. We damaged the water system. We broke down the electricity. The transformers were all damaged. Streets were damaged. We went to school here with light and water. We went to school here, clearly there were street lights at every intersection. There were lights going all the way to Saniquale. I could pick up the telephone in 9th Street and call Saniquale. I could call my mother in Conala on the farm. When I was coming up as a boy, what happened? We left school and came here, Bacchus Mafia, and all fighting here and spoiled the whole country.
Yeah.
From strike for rights, we went to riot, we went to strike, civil commotion, then war. 11 warring factions. Every time we went to a peace conference, a new warring faction emerged. 11 warring factions fighting with each other, all crowd of boys, same age grade. We destroy our country. Then we're asking ourselves, why are we displaced? Your pa built a house for you, you burn the house down, and you ask it why you displaced? You are displaced because you burned the house down. Our generation, if we do not repair this country, our generation, I'm sorry for the younger people, we try to advise them, there's youth for this and youth for that, and you put throwing rocks at each other and wounding each other and all fighting for, they want for Brunston, they want for Weir, they want for Taylor, the different youth. A young generation of people that should unite under one umbrella and encourage national development, commitment, dedication to duty, to perform their duties diligently as young people coming from school. They're busy in pickup truck throwing rock at each other and representing different political institutions and dividing themselves, creating a dangerous future for our country. So sometimes we talk about these things, we are very emotional about them because we see them going down the same road that we went, fighting civil war here and ruining our country, breaking down the family structure and all those kind of things there. We're not going to do well if we continue that way. Our people, the younger people now, we must encourage them. I always scold them at the party level. I scold them at the national level. You have a function given to you in government, go and discharge your duty diligently. You're creating bottlenecks in government. You're making the leadership of the country look bad because you are not performing your duty. You don't go to office. You go to the ministries, they are not tidy. You know, they give you a piece of, they write you a letter, it takes you 6 weeks to reply one letter. That's not diligence. You have to be diligent in your duty. Worst of all, sorry, I don't want to go. There's a legislature, another group of people who are there who are looking at the personal interest and self-interest. You're elected by a group of people to represent their interests. What do you end up doing? Representing your own interests. 103 of you have to have over 5% of the national budget. You're dividing it among yourself, carrying your salaries up, buying new cars. They're not doing the people's business. Somebody got to talk to them and tell them that this generation should change. They should change and be more people-oriented and people-conscious and nationalistic in their actions. All these concessions are here. They were supposed to create jobs for our people. They have not done that because they receive monies from the legislators. To be silent about it. Do you imagine a concession that come in here, sign a concession for 50 years? You take the concession and you go to India and you generate money from an Indian bank. You mortgage the concession with the Indian bank. You get, $20 million, for example. What do you do with that? You invest it in India. As long as you are paying back the bank, they don't call on the collateral. The collateral is the concession. And you are not putting the money that you got from the mortgage of the concession into the concession to create the jobs and the infrastructure that you promised under the Concession Act. And no one in the legislature is putting your feet to the fire to provide the jobs and make the clinics and the schools and maintain the roads and whatnot and employ and train skilled and unskilled Liberians in the concession. So you have billions of dollars worth of concessions without creating any jobs. No job, no skilled job, no unskilled job, semi-skilled jobs are not created by these concessions. But you are holding that people concession, you are holding our natural resources, and you have mortgaged it to open an airline company in Nigeria. You mortgage All Black. You have not done anything with the All Black, but you're running a large-scale aircraft in Nigeria. Once you pay in the bank, they don't call on the collateral. And the collateral is our concession. We want these kind of things to be recorded. That Liberians must come up now and be diligent. Call these people to bring these concessions. Let us review them. They are all subject to review. Let's review them with the aim of creating better conditions for our people. That's what governments do. That's what legislators should do to better the living condition of people. How dare you pass a budget without considering the disadvantaged youth? Every county, every town you go in, you see thousands of young people standing up doing nothing in the daytime. Nothing. You don't provide any kind of structure, no kind of training, no extension programs, no industries or factories to train them and improve their skills. These people, they're not part of the national budget. But yet the legislators are there adding up another $2 million to their money and one new Jeep for $60,000. Why would you do that? You don't cash no money in the budget for the disadvantaged youth. Our platform, the coalition platform, says that we'll open industries, we'll open factories, small and medium-scale industries. We'll mechanize gold and diamond mines. We're going to process our raw material into finished and semi-finished products. We wrote the platform. We wrote part of the agenda. Agriculture extension programs in every county. We're going to clear 1,000 acres and plant crops and bring in small-scale machines to process these things, to make them semi-finished or finished product. We have 300 miles of coastal waters. Ceebee Allen Talbot had 32 radar fishing boats and were processing shrimp and lobster and crabs on board of these vessels in the 70s. And when I was in school, graduate school in Switzerland, I used to buy shrimp and lobster made in Liberia. And I used to be proud of that in the Swiss supermarkets. We got 300 miles of coastal waters here. That's enough to feed our whole economy, to transform our material into finished product and strengthen our national currency. We have the 3D report that has been done to determine our natural resources, our gold, our diamond, and our bauxite, all that. Why are we not processing that? Why don't we have diamond drilling machines and gold processing plants? Why are we not scooping up the gravel from beneath our rivers and processing them in plants and depositing these valuable stones into our central bank to strengthen our national currency? This is the kind of development you're talking about, contemporary Liberia. Everything is electronic.
So,
it's not manual. I'm sorry, I'm going off.
No. Listen. I can relax for the next 3 hours and we have fun. Folks, I listen to you. They're all commenting, and I think you are saying your heart. This is what Liberians want to hear. But the question remains, though. Dr. Richardson, you want to ask the question?
Yes. I have a few more questions here. First of all, I just want to thank you for admitting the atrocities that were committed by your generation, as you explained to us, and the order of which you explained that, civil unrest that went on to war. We don't have many people in your capacity that sometimes admit these things. And also appreciating the value of our country that range from having such a long stretch of shoreline that we can benefit from. My question to you right now, as we move a little bit into some national issues, do you have any regrets of your party or your support for the current coalition, CDC? Because obviously I hear some regrets and disappointment in your voice in terms of some of the things that you guys have planned to do that is not manifesting currently.
I have no regrets. I'm not regretting. If I have to do it again, I would do it the same way. I would support the Coalition for Democratic Change, where you have the Democratic numbers. But my concern is it's not the government that's doing it. It's Liberians that are employed in these functions. No government come in with the intention of pressuring the people. It's Liberians that are given these assignments. And the government comes in now.
I'm sorry if I just interrupt you. Do you think that the leadership of our government has anything to do with how policies and vision of the country is carried out? Because
yes,
I hear
I believe that.
Okay, no, you believe that?
I believe that. I believe that people who are given assignments to perform and are not diligent in the discharge of their duties should be changed. They should be switched around. They should be removed and put in people who would, whether they are partisans or whether they are not partisans. Liberians have a privilege to serve and must be given the right to serve professionally. Do you know that in our country, you have a lot of professionals who are in engineers, mining engineers, hydrogeologists, electronic engineers who were trained by the Liberian government, who are sitting in their homes and are being displaced from work because of change of regimes. You know that? I mean, it's a simple concept. So basically, you have people who are sitting down, who were trained, mining engineers and all, who just not in job again because they were supporting the government before that. And someone else came and they won that job. So they take that job because they are part of the government of the day. This happened to several regimes. Yeah.
Yes,
But
Honorable Allen, you had called, and I read some of your, cries and calls for the government. You called that for President George Weah to dismiss, reshuffle, change some of his leaders in his government, as we are stating now that leaders sometimes have to reflect what they want the country to be, if I'm hearing you correctly. Yeah. And he didn't do that. But yet and still you're telling us that you support him. You support this government.
Yes, I support I continue to support the institution that we are a part of, because I haven't seen anyone that would do anything different. So you cannot throw caution in the wind. You have an existing regime.
Hold on a minute, Dr. Richardson. Let him finish, please.
Excuse
me. Ahead,
you have a regime that is in place. You can plot a new map using the old map. Politics is dynamic. You learn by experience. This did not work the last time. Let's make it work now. The best way to do this is to review concessions. The best way to do that is to get in small-scale industries. The best way to do that is to change this individual who is not performing well. I'll give you a typical example of what I can say. Let me just give you one example. The issue we have in the country today of the scarcity of rice. Yeah. Look at that issue. The inability of a functionary in government to discharge their duty with diligence could lead to a problem like that.
Correct.
You have funds available for you to dredge the port of Monrovia. Because when I was president of the iron ore mining company in Liminco, I dredged the port of Buchanan to be able to allow 30,000 tonners to come in and lift iron ore, because as a result of the war, so much debt had come in and large vessels could not come in. Now, the Ministry of Commerce have done their part. They have granted the IPD the import license. The investor have done their part to order the consignment and charter the vessel. You at the port have not dredged the port. The funds came in for that. You did not use it. You did not allocate it to dredge the port. So as a result of that, large vessels cannot come in without huge volumes of rice. The large vessels have to stay out in the high seas, and you have to charter smaller boats to bring the rice in. That's additional cost for international maritime transportation. That cost is handed down to me and you who are buying the rice. This is just what I'm saying. Lack of, someone performing their duty that they are assigned to do can lead to that kind of thing there. And if you look at it, boomerang, shortage of rice can cause this. It can lead to riots, strike, and it goes on and on and on because of the inability of one or two personnel to discharge their duties with diligence. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm saying that yes, there's a government of the day in place. Yes, I would support the government continuously and encourage us to change our and adapt our agenda. There's a national agenda that is clear, the pro agenda for prosperity. Everything I've told you here is part of the agenda. It is just the will to begin to implement it for a better future for the country. So I'm not going to change direction with alarming speed simply because of that, because I'm no longer so young and I'm no longer so naive. I believe in fixing what is not going right, rather than discarding it and taking another one that I'm not sure will work.
So Chief Ceebee Allen, thank you, man. I don't know where you have been, man. We could have had you for 3, 4, 5 different times on our program. We want to say thank you. So let's move on to talk about opposition. And that's what Dr. Richardson, she was focusing on that. Speaking about what you just said, let us talk about opposition. You have from your party, Toga McIntosh, the ambassador. From your party, all the folks now, they move over to Mr. Edison Cummings. And just what you are saying, they are saying that on another, speaking another language. Their interpretation is because of everything you just said, they need a new leader. Ambassador McIntosh saying, I'm not saying this in personal way. I believe Cummings is the man. Cummings will do better than President Weah. We should give him a shot 2023. What say you, Honorable Ceebee Allen?
Well, let me tell you first of all, people have a tendency of making hypotheses that are incorrect. Look at I can take a bunch of them, Toga, Louis Brown, and all of them who are gravitating towards young Cummings now to promote him for national leadership. It is all their personal interest that they are seeking. It has nothing to do with them loving Ellis Cummings or knowing that he can do better. Because in their minds, they know there's a big difference between a conventional bureaucrat in Ellis Cummings and a dynamic national political leader. Cummings have not demonstrated anything to me that he's a dynamic political leader. Our elections is on constituency basis. You must develop your institution at the constituency level. If you want to win the democratic process, you have to start from there. A few years ago, when Alexander came to Liberia, he came to me and we sat. He said, the people say in Liberia, I want to talk politics. I should come and talk to you. And I said, welcome, Ali. I intend to proceed. My suggestion to him was very clear. Liberians are to a certain extent gullible. How do you start? If you take my advice, within 6 years, you could be betterly prepared for national leadership. If you go to Maryland County and win a seat in a constituency, spend $50,000, $100,000 and get one seat. When after the election, you have how many people to deal with? 73. All your peers and your colleagues. If you have the type of funding, you can become the speaker or the deputy speaker. Your performance action there for 6 years in there and galvanizing your strength between and amongst your peers and the outside world seeing it and see your involvement, that can prepare you better in 6 years for what you want to do. But for now, no. What happened? All the money they spent between he and Ben Urey, they spent about $6 or $7 million in the last elections. They lost 150 seats. He lost 75 seats. That's 73 representative and vice president and president. That's 75. And Ben Urey lost 75 seats. I think he won one representative seat. Spending about 70% of the funds for the election and losing 150 seats between the two of them is because they were spending money to make themselves president. They were not building the type of constituency, the type of quality of human resources at the district level so that they can have a voice in the national legislature. Those people who are speaking on behalf of them now are people who ran independent and who are not happy with the government, so they are supporting a quasi or semi-opposition. It's not because of their own merit. In politics, you have to be dynamic. Why do I support President Weah? I tell you why. Because he's a dynamic political leader. He might not be the best, but he's a dynamic political leader. He started all by forming a political party. 2, by maintaining a party for 12 years. By maintaining stability and peace in the country, while another regime was in for 12 years. He formed a coalition of political parties, which have not been done in Liberia before, and won the democratic process as president. You give that kind of president as a politician credit. That's an achievement. You got to look at this. I'm objective, not because of any reason, but you got to be objective in what you do. I cannot look at a conventional bureaucrat who work in a system like the United Nations or Coca-Cola or whatnot in a straitjacket, conventional bureaucracy, and you excel and do very well. I applaud you for that. You rose to the heights. But does it make you a national leader that got to deal with different tribes and different groups and different sections and different branches of government? No, they're two different persons. So I will not give you that type of deference until I see your capacity to demonstrate that. And your capacity has to be building constituency, building individuals. I would take $30,000 and I will build 10 That's 300,000, 10 strong men and women from the district level. I will improve that. I'll get them small factories. I'll build their homes. If it's a school teacher, I'll get them. If it's a dispenser, I will fix a little clinic for him and buy some drugs and whatnot. Let him become popular among his people and let his people submit him as a candidate. That way, if he wins, you win in that district because you are supporting him. But you cannot carry money around and say you want to be president. And a handful of people will come and beat drum behind you and dance. At the end of the day, you don't win anything. I watched Toga. He came from Sawyer, where he came from MPFL first. When we sent him to negotiate here in Liberia on behalf of the MPFL with the IGNU government, he jumped to the IGNU government and stayed with them. He didn't come back to Banga where people were dying. When Ellen came, he jumped behind her. You understand me? When Wea came, he jumped behind him. For personal reasons or whatnot, he not jumped behind Mr. Cummings. So the most consistent thing about some of these politicians is their consistent inconsistencies. You have to look at them. You can't be moving from pillar to pole like a pendulum, swimming every political election. You're in a new party. Yes, I give Toga deference. He's a sound economist. He's good. He's a good project manager. But by no means is he a good politician because he's never won election nowhere before. He's not electable. He cannot even win a seat in Riverside, where he comes from, a small county like that, where about 8,000 electorate. He cannot win Riverside for Cummings. What are you talking about? You know, I don't want to denigrate anybody. I don't come here.
No, we are not. We are not. But these are the national issue we gotta talk about.
I like to be straightforward with some of these fellows. You got to look at them. You join the
government. What about Lewisburg? What do you think he's going to bring to Cummings?
What does he bring to the table? Does he have a strong constituency in Grand Basso? You see, in Liberia, when you get people in the forefront of your political party, you have to understand the political geography of this country. If you don't understand the political geography, you will put money into individuals that you think can swing votes and they cannot. For example, I'll give you a typical example. Everybody run to Nimba for a vice president. You don't understand that in Nimba you have 4 major tribes. And those tribes are so divided that if you pick a minor vice president, the Guilds will not support you, and the Crowns will not support you. So you are disenfranchising yourself by picking someone from there. If you look at vote-rich county, you get in there and try to lobby at the constituency level, win individuals at the constituency level, and bring them on board your institution. Forget about thinking that if you elect, why do you think the people from the north and the west and whatnot, Lofa and Nimba and Basso and whatnot, why do you think they don't win election? You not ever see a president from that region with all the numbers they have, the vote-rich counties? Because the tribes are so divided. They are so divided. If they were united under one umbrella, democracy is the law of numbers. They will win. But, you have to look at it. If you get a Guild vice president, the minors will not support him. They will go to the other camp because of the division and the suspicion that their people will try to dominate them if they get state power. That's my experience in the political sphere. I've been there for 40 years. I can teach it. Let nobody tell you that because you call some name of few people on your campaign team, that means you're winning election. Does those people, do they have constituency? How strong are they at the various constituencies? You have to look at that too. I can write a campaign team here for you now, a name of people looking at the political geography that would make you think that you now win election tomorrow. But that's not the case. This is a constituency election. It's not about big names. Because if you got 50 PhDs and I get 50 ex-combatants from on the street, then I've win you already. Vote has no quality. The fact that most of us who are intellectual and read the internet and understand and support an individual, and you hear their name ringing all the time, they're not the person that winning. Because that person vote, if you're talking about bring 4,000 people from the diaspora somewhere and say bring them. You go to that one district across the bridge, we'll outvote them. We'll give you 5,000 votes. Democracy, it has no quality. So the fact that all of us support an individual doesn't make them win elections. That's some of the things I wanted to bring to your attention. People must understand these things. You like the names of people. You say, "Oh, what will you?" No, I wouldn't. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. I don't follow people blindly. I will advise you on how to proceed. And if you think that because somebody is a conventional bureaucrat, they can be a national leader, then you are making a big mistake.
So my question before we bring in Dr. Richardson,
please go on.
Comey, speaking to you, you are talking about the 2017 election, not most recently, correct?
Which one?
No, your conversation with Mr. Comey.
Oh, that was way back. Yeah, that was before that. Yeah, 27. Before he took up the ANC, before he came into the ANC. Yeah.
So up to now, you have not seen anything in Mr. Comey that have maybe will shake you.
I see the same thing that I've seen in all the opposition for the years that I've been in politics. 6 years, you lose election, you go and sit down in one office and talk about what the government is not doing. I have not seen an opposition party who open industries, factories, create jobs, agriculture extension program. You say you got money, get a wood processing plant. Go and get a diamond drilling machine, a plywood and veneer plant, like Taylor did, $30 million plywood and veneer plant to create almost 4,000 jobs in a county and a district. Invest in the people, create jobs. Don't tell the people when I become president, I will create jobs. Your partisans voted for you. They were in the rain and the sun for 3 months. They didn't win election. You leave them without jobs. You leave them without attention. You're flying all around the world as a political leader, maybe raising money. You have not taken care of. You don't even have the charisma to be able to convince the national government that your partisans are qualified and competent. They should be absorbed into government to help to build the government. They are Liberians. You should put your case. I'm in the opposition, but my partisans are qualified. Put them in government. They will help you. You don't make those recommendations, but you expect the people after 6 years to come and follow behind you in the rain and sun to vote for you. The opposition must take the initiative of helping to create jobs and build a national image. Create jobs. Agriculture. What's wrong with clearing 1,000 acres of land in Bond County or Lofa County and create 2,000 jobs? What's wrong with bringing skilled machines and training people in skills? There's nothing wrong with that. I think political parties are incorporated to do business. You can take a monopoly on cement or oligopoly on frozen food and bring those things in to generate money for your party. A simple thing, if you import volume, if you import 300 tons of frozen food, you save what, $70 a ton. That's $210,000 you save just on freight. That money can be used to propel your political party. You don't have to steal money from anywhere. There's simple business and initiative. If you import volume, the freight is reduced. A political party can do that business and get money just from freight reduction by importing volume. So let's encourage these people who come in to be political leaders to create something, be innovative. Why do you think I consider myself successful? Because I'm innovative. I have a farm. I have a big farm out there. I have workers. I have a clinic. I have a school there. My mother's finance and everything that continues. I build community roads. I'm not looking for no political job or no office. I don't need it. My farm can produce itself and feed the farmers, feed the people who are working there, and produce rice. The Minister of Agriculture is my biggest buyer. She buys the red rice that I produce. So that is the way to do things. We must be creative. We must be innovative. You can't say you want to be president, so everybody going to come around your office and be beating drum the whole day, and you're not creating any jobs. They're not leading by example. You're doing the same thing all opposition people to do. After election, they go sit down somewhere and wait for 6 years. All they do is beat drum on the government and hope that the government fail. How can you be hoping that your country fail?
Mr.
You should
Allen?
encourage the government to do well. Sorry, please go on, Ms. Dr. Richardson. Sorry, I'm.
That's okay. We wish that we can.
Don't mind me, my dear.
Yes, we wish that we can have you back again so we can have more of this type of conversation. I think it's very important. My question to you is, you spoke about an innovative type country, and you extended that to even a political party. Here we are. You see that even to get $100,000 for your political party, Senator, Vice President Joe Howard Taylor had to take 90% of the responsibility. But yet and still, you talk about an innovative political party. Secondly, some people might consider you as a contaminated person because you were a part of the Charles Taylor government. How would you respond to that?
What, contaminated?
Yes.
Meaning what? Contaminated in what extent?
That means that you are part of a government that was very corrupt. You are part of a government that didn't, you are actually in charge of LPRC, I think, if I'm correct, that didn't, that you have not contributed anything to the development of our oil refinery system in Liberia. Your leader is now in prison for many things, many atrocities that were committed against Liberians.
Well, my dear, if you say that I am contaminated, then I wonder, when I was managing director of LPRC, I imported my own products.
Say that again?
I imported my own products. I was able to be innovative. I was able to get President Taylor, former president. I mean, that time when I was managing director, it was not a Taylor government. It was doing the transitional government. And still, I was able to get the Council of State and President Abacha together to grant Liberia crude oil on a quota basis because Nigeria had it available to give to countries, ECOWAS countries. You get the quota and you discount it to other oil buying countries because we didn't have any refinery. So you discount it and you be able to get finished product into your country, provide finished product at a reduced price. So you have to make your contribution to the extent of time. You have to. There are challenges in changing times. I didn't have to make any money during the Taylor administration. I made money long before the Taylor administration. Before the Taylor administration, I owned my own insurance company. I had national insurance brokers. For those who know me, ask them. I had the wet logging corporation. That was a private enterprise. I had Omnicom Fishing. Excuse me. I had Omnicom Fishing. Omnicom Trading and Manufacturing Company. Willard Russell and a lot of Liberians worked for my establishment. I was already established before Taylor brought a war. You understand? And it was Sanado that chased me out of the country, and I went out and came back after the war. So I had already made a successful entry into my economy before the Taylor administration. I didn't need to make any money from Taylor administration, even though I did, because I'm not stupid. I'm sorry to tell you that. I'm a progressive businessman, and I continued. During the Taylor administration, I was not even thinking about government. I had a plastic factory making plastic buckets, spoons, plates, and cups. I had the contract to make Firestone rubber cups and change the color per division and make buckets, spoons, and plates from a plant that I bought from Italy, a used plant. That's what some of you people in the States and other places should do. You should go to companies that are mothballing some factories and industries and purchase those things on a joint venture with all of you together and bring it in Liberia and help to process and create jobs. Many machines are mothballing. Those machines there have been outdated by technology, and they are labor-intensive machines. You can buy them and bring them into Liberia and create jobs for Liberians and manufacture something made in Liberia using natural resources from our country. And not all the time sitting and saying what government doing or whether somebody is corrupt or contaminated. You could be contaminated because you have no investment in Liberia. You expect Liberia to do well. It's unfortunate that you can get some people together, a group of you can get together, go to a mortgage company. Some factories have been foreclosed.
Some
factories have been foreclosed.
Let me finish, Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, let him finish.
You finish. I mean, you say your own, I didn't say anything. I'm saying now that it is good for me to encourage Liberians to get together, go to mortgage companies that have foreclosed mortgage on factories and industries that are outdated and bring them into Liberia. I've done that. I went to Italy. There was a factory that was mothballing. I bought it to make plastic buckets, spoons, and cups and brought it into Liberia and used the raw material from here to make them. I'm saying that it is good for people to do that. I'm not crying you down, my dear. I didn't come here to make no fuss with nobody. I'm very firm and stern in the things that I say because I have demonstrated that. I don't need no government in Liberia to be able to create jobs. You know, that's what I want to say. Now, Taylor in jail, that Taylor business. You see, that's a different thing altogether. And you can justify whether or not he's there by people lying or misinformation, or whether he's there by imperialist dragnet, or whatever reason he's there for. Well, it doesn't mean that you have to take it up with anybody else who you invite on your show. Thank you. So you can say what you want to say now.
The Chief Ceebee Allen want to say thank you very much. Dr. Richardson, you have any last one question?
Yes. You know, my question to you is, perhaps you can share your thoughts on the role that you play in the Taylor's government, and that you didn't get my question. My initial question to you is, some people might describe you as contaminated due to the role that you play. So I appreciate your feedback on telling me what the people in the United States and in the diaspora can do, but I think it's important for you also to share your role in the Taylor government and how some people might say that you contaminated, and maybe you can speak to that.
When I was in the Taylor government, I served as Secretary General of the party. I served as National Chairman of the party. I also chaired the board of the Roberts International Airport, a board also on the board. These are some of the, I was chairman of the Investment Commission for about 6 months. What I did was to do a one-stop shop with the Investment Commission, where you don't have to go to ministries to go bribe ministers and things to get your duty free. You just come to NIC and go through all the documents there, and then your investors were complaining that people were taking money from them. And so I said, well, NIC is responsible to approve franchise and grant extraordinary incentive for duties and whatnot for manufacturing and processing. So it became a one-stop shop. Basically, that was one of the major functions that I played in the government. I do not deny the fact that there were opportunities and that people had, but I didn't have to use no opportunity. When I came into Taylor government, I was already someone who had earned money. I was already someone who had lit something already. I didn't need much to sustain and survive, you know. So whether I'm contaminated or not contaminated, that does not make an issue to me. I did not go in there to go and steal from anybody. I've never been guilty of corruption. I've never been a judge. There have never been an audit that have found me guilty, because my upbringing does not permit me. My parents didn't bring me out to take something that doesn't belong to me. That's why I speak without fear or favor. I speak truth to everybody. I told President Taylor that his government was corrupt. I said that very clearly, that their government here, we won election here. You have some corrupt officials here, we should remove them from in government. I mentioned some of my own personal friends and whatnot, because I told them, my parents didn't bring me out to see somebody money and take it.
So you told President Taylor that his government was corrupt. He didn't listen to you. You are telling President Weah that his government is corrupt, and he's not listening to you. But yet and still,
no, I didn't say that their government is corrupt. No, I did not tell you that. You're putting what, if you believe that way, you may say that. I did not say that. I've never expressed that here.
Okay, so how do you describe government?
But Dr. Richardson, let me finish up now. Dr. Richardson, Dr. Richardson, he's the guest. Let him finish up.
Don't do that. That's very elementary. You don't do that.
Let him finish up, Dr. Richardson.
I'm a high level intelligence.
Dr. Richardson,
you don't put words in my mouth.
We will give Mr. Allen the chance to
finish. You sat here and told us that.
Dr. Richardson, Dr. Richardson will give Mr. Allen the time to finish up, please.
Madam, I said, and I'm very clear about that, there are functionaries in government that are not discharging their duties with diligence. That's what I said. You understand? And I mean that.
And when somebody doesn't describe their duty with diligence, how do you call that?
It doesn't mean they're corrupt.
How do you call somebody who is not describing their duty with diligence? How do you call that? That will cause the country to go into the right crisis. How do you describe that?
My dear.
Yes, sir.
I didn't come here for a dialogue. And I would hope that you don't initiate a dialogue, because I can confront a dialogue directly. I don't want to deal with that.
Sir, so do I.
Dr. Richardson, we got Dr. Richardson.
So but we're not engaging in this dialogue.
Dr. Richardson, we will not do
this dialogue.
Listen, we're not do the back and forth like that. Chief Ceebee Allen. Let me ask you.
You're interrupting. You're interrupting. That's not fair. You
Yeah,
got control of the microphones, you got the cameras, and you take advantage of that. And it's not fair for you to do that. You
I
cannot
want
read
us to.
meanings into what I say. Very clear with what I say. And if
I
I
want
want
us
to,
to.
whatever I want to say, yes, okay. Please go on.
Ceebee Allen, I want us to get back on track, please. Let's talk about
Please,
let's
let's
talk
go.
about the issue. Thank you very much, and thanks to Dr. Richardson. Let's talk about the issue within the country today. What is happening? We have Jose Yimabwaka from UP, 12 years under Madam Salif. We spoke about Alexander Cummings and his team, the new Cummings team. We're looking at Tewan Gonglo coming back again. You know Tewan. We are looking at other folks saying, you know what, I want to be president, me. But you said something very interesting today. From 2017 to now, if those folks were helping Liberians, building industry, building schools, clinics, investing in their people, they won't be fighting to be president. The people will beg them to be president.
Exactly.
I want you to go back. I want you to just continue on that path and show distinguish now where we are. As we all, tomorrow will be 1 year to the election, October 10th, 1 year to 2023 election. So talk to us. Let's say some of those things to help the young folks out there. What are missing? What are some of the things missing right now on those opposition leaders that George Manuel, where they have empowered President Ware to say, I would beat them? There will be a first round election. So talk to us, please.
Because my justification is clear that this is a constituency election. I said it earlier. You have to strengthen your political institutions at the constituency level. Stop trying to invest money in yourself being president. Try to encourage and support other younger generation of people who are popular or semi-popular in their districts or in their counties. The broader the scope of your political institution, look at today. Up until now, you are still talking about the MPP. Nobody talks about NDPL. Nobody talks about True Party. But after 15 years, you are still talking about the MPP because it was established at the roots, at the grassroots level in every nook and corner of the country. That is the type of establishment that we are looking at political leaders to do. And some of them have had ample time. You mentioned Joe Borka. Joe is someone that I know very well. And Joe is a good friend of mine. But Joe is not, he doesn't have that leadership thing. He's a follower. I watched him from LPMC. I watched him from LPRC. I watched him as he left agriculture, as he left the University of Liberia. I watched him help BCADB, Bon County Agricultural Development Project, under Young, and the Lofa County Agricultural Development Project under Jeremiah Tule. Way back, these were all bread basket places for Liberia. I want to see him with those kind of initiatives. I see the Libyans invested almost $30 million in rice production in Lofa County. I see those machines lying down in the bushes in Lofa County. He should grab those machines, and by now Lofa should be the rice producer of Africa. They invested, almost, I don't know, whether $20 or $15 million in that project. Look at the John Deere machines. You know the John Deere set of machines from the United States. They are there in the bushes. You should have used that now to propel Lofa County into a bread basket. Today, you won't be talking about whether or not people will support you. We'll be asking you to please make Liberia the way you did to Lofa. You have to be innovative. You have to be dynamic. I don't have anything personal with any of these fellows. They have nothing that I want. They can't do nothing to me or for me, but I will encourage them. If you want to be a symbol of national leadership, you have to demonstrate some kind of will. You have to do something for the people to encourage you. You see, I look at Tiawan. Tiawan say he won't be president. Nothing wrong with that. He can come forward and throw his hat in the race. Maybe he wants to be considered as a running mate for someone or to come to the limelight, but he hasn't done anything much for himself, nor has he done anything for his county or district. So I'm not looking at him as as someone that is um, uh, something to worry about. We encourage him to support other institutions and come alongside and see what you can do. But basically, let's look at it. You have the major contenders are Cummins and Walker, but the inability to unite as an opposition alone is defeatist. They have defeated themselves. Under the watch of Walker, Joseph Walker, you had Alexander Cummins being taken to court by Ben Urey. I mean, you're the leader of the coalition. You cannot call those two young boys and say, "Yo, man, yourself here, man. You stop this kind of thing here. Close this case here. And you can't do that. Ben, you can't do that. Let's remain together. I'm in charge now for 1 year. When I leave from here, you can do what you want to." That's the kind of leadership that you want in an opposition. Harmony, tranquility. Invite your young brothers and sisters to be united. That's what I'm fighting to do in the MPP. I can't succeed. So I cannot say I'm successful in doing that. I got my young brother and young sister there fighting whole day and even doing things that are not necessary. So I cannot claim victory. I'm sorry. As a leader of them, I cannot claim that I'm doing well. I hope I could do better. But anyway, I'm saying that because the CPP, came up very strong as a united front. Their documents were well put together. They were well written, and their platform seemed good because they had extracted from other areas and had drafted a very good platform. It was something to panic about. But then when you saw that division, and saw that court and fighting and all that, I said, "Oh man, they boys not ready. They're not ready. How can you win an incumbent if you are divided? And everybody want to be their own person." So the inability to unite is one of my key disappointments, and I hope that they would unite. It's not late for them to come together under one umbrella in the interest of the people of Liberia and try to put up a good fight for the democratic process. Well, as it stands now, it's unfortunate because democracy is a law of numbers, and vote has no quality. So you don't expect them to defeat President Weah in the democratic process, except they regroup and reform and put their house in order.
Wow. Dr. Richardson, you got last question for us to wrap this thing, because
Absolutely.
we've in studio 2 hours 21 minutes with how you call it? Should I say Charlie Alpha? Is that the call?
Charlie Alpha, you know that name? I know that name, young man.
Go ahead, Dr. Richardson.
Mr. Allen, it's actually been a pleasure having you here in the studio, providing some information about, your generation and how your generation can serve as a guidance, a model for the newer generation, including myself. But I do, and I'm troubled by some of what you have said in terms of the feedback you can give to younger generation. And one of the troubling thing is you present as someone who have standards. You take credit for not being able to bring people together in your own party, okay? But yet and still, and you talk about the innovation, the things that our country can do to make Liberia a successful place, a place that we all want to be and to be proud of, once again, as you were, when you talk about how light we're in the country, water, and all of those things. But the future of our country is at a dangerous place. I don't know if you yes. But yet and still, you tell us that we have to sit on old map to plant new map.
Yes,
but then on the old map, you see that things like the policies that were written by the PAPD are not being manifested. You yourself, you spoke about your own happiness about the people who are carrying out those, who are planting the mat. They are not the leaders on those mats are not carrying out the policy. But you are still encouraging us to vote for those leaders.
I'm not encouraging you to vote for anybody. You have your own decision to make. I'm not encouraging you or enticing you to vote for anybody. It's up to you to vote and make a choice. You're matured and reasonable enough, and you have certain constraints that you are guided by. So you may go ahead and select your own presidential or what representative candidate. It's your free will and accord. I didn't come here to campaign. When it's time to campaign, you see me on the field. I'm one of the leading members of the campaign team, and I know how to campaign in Liberia. I'm not coming here to come and convince anybody. I'm saying to you that leaders of our time now, because this is not my time, but I think that the younger generation of leaders must remain united. They must come under one umbrella, one chronological umbrella, one umbrella of chronological, like you and the rest of you, and Stanton and them. You all are young people in one generation. You have to have unity first. Unite yourself. Don't follow behind Ceebee Allen, or don't follow behind Bromsky. Sorry, peace be to his ashes, my friend and brother. Don't follow behind this other person. You people must form yourself in a group of united young people, united under one umbrella for national development and effort to make your lives better and the lives of your children better. That's the primary thing. If you people do not do that, you may go down as our generation went down, divided and destructive. That's all I'm saying to you. And I'm not enthusiastic about anybody to convince you or something to vote. You know,
No, you
when the
are on
time comes, we
national.
convince.
Honorable Allen, you are on national radio, TV, and your voice have power. Okay, in terms of what
Thank you.
speak.
I didn't know that.
What? Yes, it does. It does. In terms of what you speak to the Liberian people, so you are telling them, say, oh, yet and still, Tiawan Congo has not done anything in his village. You know, I believe in a dynamic politician, but yet and still, the person, huh?
Tell me what he has done. And I said,
But
don't just say it. Why not? Let can't do Liberian English now. What he not do?
But when you ask that question, that kind of Liberian English, I choose. Yeah, honorable, that true. That kind of Liberian English. But so somebody can ask you too. But yeah, I'm sorry, sir. That kind of Liberian English got me out of speaking jelly. You can speak it too, so we can. I will tell my student I'm bilingual. I can go for Liberian English.
What I do? What have I done?
Not you. The people that you support.
Explain to you.
When you done, I'll let you talk. Then I will talk when you finish.
No. So, Ceebee Allen, she's not talking about you. So let's give her a chance to finish her question. So, Dr. Richardson, you want to wrap your question up?
I was talking about the government that you support. Somebody might ask you, what has George Weah done, or what did he do before you supported him? Because, you know, we see our country, you agree with me, is at a dangerous place right now under his leadership.
You know, Dr. Richardson, you know, my mother was a school teacher, principal for like Kerry Mission and whatnot. There's something that she used to tell. You know what people don't do well in school? Sometimes when a teacher talking, they don't pay attention. And that's what's happening now. I told you very clearly the reason why I supported the Coalition for Democratic Change. Didn't I tell you that? I said that George Weah came and he formed a political party. He kept that party peaceful and together and kept harmony in the country for 12 years under another regime. At the end of that 12 years, he established a coalition with us together and won the democratic process. That is the reason why I support that kind of dynamism in leadership. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. I'm a political scientist. If I can support that, I'm not talking about money or doing this or doing that. The process leading, the dynamic process leading to national leadership is what I talk about. You have a political party. You have been in opposition. Okay, they've been in opposition for 6 years. What have you done for your partisans? Have you maintained stability in the country besides demonstrating and whatnot? Have you formed an alliance with other political parties that is stable and that alliance can hold water and go to the democratic process together? Have you kept unity among the younger generation of your party leaders? Have you blended the younger generation in other parties together to increase your democratic numbers? These are the characteristics of people who want to take national leadership. We ain't got to be building house and building there and building that. Have you created factories and industries and plantations? Have you brought in investors to assist to mechanize mining and gold? Have you brought in fishing trawlers? to process shrimp and lobster on board using 300 miles of coastal waters and packaging them for export? Have you contributed to strengthen our local currency? These are some of the things that I expect of people who want to be leaders in a country, man. Look in Europe, America, places that you are. People, when they come to the forefront of political leadership, you see what when they count their achievement over the years, you see that they have done something. You not just sit and say you won't be president. 12 years, you won't be president. 10 years, you won't be president. We don't know what you not do. That's what I'm saying. Look, the same mean any harm. Believe me, I don't mean any harm, and I have nothing personal against any of these young people who want national leadership. But they have to demonstrate to the people of the country. You say you're from Lofa. How many people in Lofa County have you educated over the years? How many schools have you supported? How many clinics have you supported?
We're gonna have you back. Listen, it's a must that you come back, Chief Allen. You have to come back. I'm going to beg you, please come back. I know I'm going to bring you in, Dr. Richardson. Let me just say this: during the week, Monday through Saturday, we have the entire team. On Sunday, it's just Dr. Richardson and myself, or maybe I alone. So we'd like to bring you with the entire team. And this is very interesting. I think you're going to help most Liberians to understand, not just come 1 year, 2 years, 12 years, 18 years, and you step back and say, make me president, but we ain't see anything. So we got to educate our folks. And I'm begging you to come back. Dr. Richardson, ask your last question for us to wrap this up.
Yeah, I actually want to make a statement, not necessarily ask a question. And I hope that the Honorable Allen listened well. I actually appreciated this conversation with you. And I'd like to tell you a little bit of my background. I've been in a classroom setting, like your mother, for probably 18 years. I don't know how long she spent in the classroom setting. I'm a professor who's have been in the classroom setting, so you can't tell me about how to teach someone. One of the things that we learn in training for teaching is to learn how to meet students at the different learning styles. We don't just speak one time and we expect our students to listen. We address issues in different ways, visually, experientially, orally. Some people are auditory learners. So just to give you some background. Excuse me, sir. I'm also a psychologist, and I've been the study of human behavior. So this is why I think I came around asking questions about fears and apprehension. And lastly, I have a master's degree in politics as well. And my master's degree in politics, not one day did I spend in class where a teacher asked me to ask the opposition to create jobs. What they spoke about most of the time in my political science class was mostly about good governance, mostly about legislative process, mostly about leadership. And I see those things. I see that those things, when we go to mentioning those things, you feel miserably for our younger generation to actually elaborate on these things. You are asking the opposition who's not in power to create jobs, whereby you are supporting a government where your only criteria for the standard of the reason why you support this leader in this government is because he created a party, he maintained a party, and then he maintained security. Are you kidding me, Honorable Allen? Is that what you learn in politics?
Yeah.
And then I rest my case and I'm done with the conversation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Richardson.
You have your views. You have your views. You have your views, and it's good that you are what you are. But
Thank you.
I'll tell you very clearly, degrees and degrees. I have 6 daughters with master degrees from Ivy League schools. I have a son that's a PhD, a doctor in finance and management. I train all of them in school. So I'm not talking about, let's not brag about the education people got all that one day. I have children that are well trained, well
Dr. Richardson, Dr. Richardson, no, it's not. Dr. Richardson, it's not fair. He got to speak. No. So you have to tell his folks, let the guest speak, please.
You say you guys You say you got a psychology degree, we understand that. Then use your psychology degree and be relaxed now. You on a
Just
talk
listen,
show.
I'm not
You're
going to
not
sit
making
here and
power.
allow
I don't know.
Allen to
We
tell
will
me
not
how
do
to
this,
use my
but Dr.
degree.
Richardson.
So I think it's better. Let me just
You are
exit the
interrupting.
conversation.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
You are interrupting.
Thank you.
You are
Thank
interrupting,
you.
and it's
Thank you,
very
Dr.
unfair for
Richardson.
you.
If we
You know,
cannot
you
maintain
know what
this
you're
order,
doing.
then
What you're
that's
doing,
no, I
fine.
don't
what
think
you're
it's
doing is
fair for
unfair.
you. I don't think it's fair for you.
But then you will
All due
still
respect,
you will
Honorable
still
Allen,
speak.
you
You
cannot
will
sit
still
here and
speak.
tell me
Listen,
about
Dr.
degrees.
Richardson.
That's
You
not
will still,
mental.
Dr.
Actually, no,
Richardson.
I didn't mention that.
But Dr. Richardson, this is the mistake. You will still speak, but you must give him chance to finish. You don't have to interrupt him.
Now we go all around the
No, but it's
conversation.
okay. You don't have to interrupt him. You will still come back and speak. He's the
I
guest.
don't, man.
Yeah,
You're gonna
Honorable
try.
Allen. Honorable Allen, we
among
want to
yourself.
say, Honorable Allen, want to say
Can't do
thank
that.
you very much. You've been very, very helpful with the discussion today. I personally, surprised that, my first time hearing from you, I'm shocked. I'm shocked because I think when you speak, a lot of Liberians, the youth, will understand there's a way forward for Liberia. And if we can put ourselves together and our art together, we can do better. I went through, I read about you, and I understand and I know exactly what you're doing. It's not personal. It should be about Liberia and bring you on the show. I think talking about NPP, you clarify, you help with the discussion, the national issue about rights, about politics in our nation. So we'd love to have you back again. If you cannot do the group, you're always welcome to do the one-on-one. But do us a favor, do your closing, and let's wrap this up.
I'm happy that we have had a discussion, and sometimes I think I don't like people who think that we have some rift. I don't have a rift with anybody. I have no reason to insult or to try to, make anybody look bad or something. It's not my upbringing. I don't have time for that. But what I wanted to say very clear, let me just digress a little bit. I've said in Liberia now, in order to win the elections, I have not supported anything out of the ordinary. In order to win the battle, there's some small little war that you still got to win. We still got to make sure that our functionaries are performing their duties. We still have to make sure that our offices are up to standard and clean. We still have to make sure that our functionaries get to duty on time and remain in their offices. We still have other things to do on projects that people who are implementing official national government projects be diligent in performing those functions. You have to do things to make the country look better before you ask people to support you. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me to come and say that, or you say I'm this and I'm that, I don't want to do that. I didn't come here to criticize or to denigrate anyone. I'm here to encourage the young generation of people to come with unity. The only thing that is the support of every institution is harmony. And if the young people will come together under one umbrella with harmony, a chronological generation focus on national development and putting the national government feet to the fire to make sure that those things that they promise the people are being done, to make suggestions and recommendations to concessionaires on how to use our natural resources to propel our national economy. Those are the kind of things that I'm interested in recommending and discussing. How we will put our legislators' feet to the fire to ensure that they promulgate laws that are in the interest of the country and that will benefit future generations. I'm not thinking about Ceebee Allen, who I am. We all had our past, whether they are bad or good. I didn't come here to be judged. I didn't come here for somebody to question my integrity or my sincerity. I came here to express my views on issues, on questions that I'm asked. If you ask me a question, madam, I will answer. If Santa asks me questions, I would answer. I came here only to answer questions. It is you that allow me to put things forward, and so I begin to discuss them. Well, I can open a whole Pandora box of things that are not happening, and things that should happen, and things that I would recommend to happen. I don't think that's the purpose of this The conversation,
That's
when
right.
you have an opportunity to do that, then we will do that. And we can go
That's
on a
right.
long range of things. I want Liberia to be better for the younger generation of people because I have children. I have 11 children, as a matter of fact, and I want to see better for all of them. We'll spend my life savings educating them. I want them to have an opportunity to come back home and to serve their country and to be useful citizens. Same with my nephew and nieces. That's all we look for. What else you're looking for? Everybody's going out and dying and whatnot. There will be one day you say the man is not there, but he left a footprint on the sand of time. You want to know what I do? I'm a farmer. I left when I retired. I went to the farm. In my farm, I make sure that my workers are paid. I make sure that their skills are improved. I have over 68 workers and 42 contractors on the farm. Each of them earn a salary. I have a 10-room clinic where they go to get medical supplies and treatment. I have a school that my mother supported. I have over 400 students. We provide for them and make sure that at least they can get an education, because the grandparents and the parents of those children are the ones that tap rubber on my father's farm to send me and my brothers to school. So I have an obligation to make sure that they get an education and a livelihood. That's the responsibility I put on myself. And I don't need to show off to anybody for that. I need to be diligent in the performance of that duty. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
The Honorable Ceebee Allen, we want to say thank you very much, man. We appreciate your time on the show for 2 hours, 40 minutes. We say you are always welcome to John Spoon. We say hi to you and your family. May God bless you. May God keep you. And we look forward to seeing you again. We know as we move towards the election, you will be back. We'll talk more about the situation in the country. But for now, have a wonderful evening, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, folks. That's Chief Ceebee Allen. Chief Ceebee Allen. You understand that, man, that's a lot to unfold tonight. With the exception of taking everything away, Dr. Richardson. But I want to say I'm so grateful to have him, especially to discuss the issue that we just went through concerning NPP. It was so good. I took a lot from this conversation, and I would like to say to all of our followers, tomorrow we have a full discussion with the entire with the rest of the panelists on NPP. The Secretary General will be coming. One of the takeaways that Richard said that Madam Joa Howard Taylor paying $600 to county chair. I really want to clarify that from the Secretary General. He will be our guest tomorrow. Madam Joa Howard Taylor paying $600 to county chair. And I'll also bring in Mr. Alexander. Let me find his name. I'm trying to reach out to him to hear from their side as well. I also want to bring in Mr. Emmanuel Lomax. Emmanuel Lomax to explain from the VP Joa Howard Taylor side, for us to have a balanced conversation. But you can come back on good day. Dr. Richardson, I understand it was a little tense between you and the chief, but this is Spoon Talk. James, you want to come back on? Let me turn this over real quick, Dr. Richardson. I'll be right back. But go ahead and talk.
So I actually I think it was a good show, very informative. But I like to say, sometimes there are people who were in our government and people who are in our politics, okay, that pick and choose sometimes what they think our younger generation should know. We have a man, with all due respect, he was very open. He presented a lot of information about what happened at the NPP convention. But yet and still, when it comes to the projection, the way in which our country should run, he's not giving us anything substantive. He's telling us, yes, I support a woman who I'm accusing of dedicate $600. He's telling us that. He's telling us, yes, the only reason why I'm supporting our current president is because he created a political party. I'm not even so sure how factual that information is. He maintained a political party, and also he maintained a security. He's not even talking about the bread and butter issue that it affects Liberians. He admits that our country is at a national disaster, crisis. And he admits that the leaders have failed us, but he goes to say, oh, it's only these leaders that have failed us. He's not willing to say, oh, this person is the president is responsible. Although he talked about the legislature being responsible. Okay, when you ask him, what did you offer during your era? You supported Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor is in jail right now. In fact, that's when he got a little bit jittery. Charles Taylor is in jail right now for the atrocity that he committed against people in Sierra Leone. All right. What did you contribute to the Liberian people? You serve as insurance banker. Look at our pension plan, our pension program right now. We're just having a show on this pension plan issue not too long ago. What did you contribute? Oh, only we can hear is what his personal did. I own a farm. I was this person. I brought rubber cup and rubber paper. You people in the diaspora are supposed to do this. Are you kidding me? This man, we look up to people like him to provide guidance to our country. And when they come here and they only talk about their past history, I did this, and then he wants to be disrespectful to me. I have 11 children, they have master's degree. I don't come on this show to talk about my master's degree because I know who I am. I know where I stand. I'm very secure in myself. I don't do that. I don't think I ever do they come on this show and even brag about my degree. I don't do that because people who know who they are, they know what to contribute to society. They respect everyone, no matter how high or how low. So you want to come on the show and come tell me, oh, I'm going to answer a question as if we are just supposed to listen to what you have to say in the money law. Nobody can question you because of who you are. That is not going to work, Honorable Ceebee Allen. I'm sorry to tell you. When you come to the phone, you expect for us to have a dialogue, okay?
So I want to say that, listen, we're really grateful. We're really grateful for this wonderful information given to Chief Ceebee Allen today. I think it was very, very informative. He spoke about the National Patriotic Party, NPP. He spoke about the way forward, moving towards 2023, the opposition. And we'll be inviting him again, that we can have a wonderful program about some other issues in the country. And I think our followers tonight, they enjoy the program. They will make up their own mind and make their own decision, because this is the Spoon Talk. This is what we do. We want to say we are grateful to you, Honorable Ceebee Allen. Thank you for coming in our studio to be part of this program. We say thank you for being our guest today. You are always welcome and hope to see you again. It was a very, very, James, your takeaway, man. My key takeaway is when he addressed the NPP and he said that Madam Joa Howard Taylor were paying people $600. Let's bring in Rufus. Let's bring in Rufus because let's take 5 calls. Because I know we got to go to the other one 10 o'clock. God can bless anybody. But Dr. Richardson, this is the reason why I'm learning to be taking calls now. When the people hear the message, right, they want to just respond. So let's just take some calls if we can. But that's $600 issue. And I hope that the VP clarified that, though. I think, James, Dr. Richardson, what do you think? She need to actually speak about that $600. If you pay a county chair $600 to vote for you, I think somewhere in the election law is a crime.
The issue, it is internal party convention, right? And again, the Chief Allen came out with his allegation. Yes, we take it as it is, but we hope, like you said, we hope that the VP will speak to it tomorrow or days to come, because it is a very serious allegation. And this also led to another citizen leaving the face of this earth. So
yeah, somebody died.
Yeah, I think the NPP, the entire NPP, or the NPP as a whole, needs to be careful. We can't be going to election just ordinary primary, somebody dying. What about going to national elections where NPP is going to be involved into presidential and representative elections? It is scary that even the National Elections Commission, the media, and other stakeholders will have to, game up against the NPP in a good manner so they can desist and talk to their partisans. We don't want to see people die in 2023, God forbid. It have already started with them. One person died as a result of a convention violence.
So, James, let's go to the phone line real quick. Let's take some calls because it's important. Rufus, please just take as many as you can because I know we got a few more minutes for you to do your God can bless anybody. So go ahead, Rufus. Bobby, we're not hearing you, my man.
Okay.
Thank you.
You control that side, so 0777-771-075, 0555-101075. Please reduce the volume of your monitor, and you have just a minute to make your input. Hello.
Hello.
Your name and you join us from where?
HD joining from Copper Foundry.
Please be audible. Let's hear you.
Yeah.
We're not hearing the man. Is he ready to talk?
Audible. Be audible.
Hello. Okay.
Getting
me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for the trying to Ceebee Allen tonight for for the program. I was disappointed.
Your volume gone low again.
So,
I mean, by that man call by tomorrow. By that move for my man. The man call by tomorrow. We'll hold the man on that space on the line. My man call by tomorrow. Bye. My man bring somebody else.
Cooper pass away.
That Cooper.
Cooper.
Oh, yeah, let me move for that, man. Cooper pass away. Let me move for that, man.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. My name is Mark Doko. And I called this evening from the office of the Intellectual Alliance of Liberia at the Japan Freeway.
And pray that your volume don't go low as well.
No, holding. Well, I appreciate Chief Dr. Ceebee Allen for the excellent presentation. I think he spoke very well and he was passionate and eloquent. Dr. Ceebee Allen spoke about the MPP, what is happening currently in the MPP. He spoke on national issue, and then he spoke on latest issue that was discussion.
So what you make about the $600, my man? Yeah, man.
Hello?
Why you made up the $600? The alleged $600.
Lord, let me speak on the issue of one of the presenters on the show first.
No, my man. Tell the man from the back. The man are ready to talk. Rufus. Tell the man about it. We asked you for the $600. Don't change our conversation, my man.
Let me speak to the $600.
Go ahead.
Dr. Richardson did not
do justice to the woman.
Mark.
We just
it's funny, he's coming from an intellectual center to talking that.
Hello.
Bring somebody else, man.
What's your name? Hello.
How you doing? Yeah, hello. You getting me?
Please be audible. Your name?
Yeah, I'm Duba from Do Community.
Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of them following this show for a long time, but today for the time too. The only problem I have that is that when you're involved, I can't need to count on the show with 2 women behave on the show is not good.
So what you make about the $600, my man? But what do you put the holler answer the question? Rufus. Ask the man about the $600.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Simple question.
The question here is, what do you make of the alleged $600 that were actually mentioned?
Okay, yes, everybody can hear it for me.
Okay.
All right, thank you, my friend.
Okay.
Come by tomorrow. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother.
Hello.
The allegation of 600.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
This is Otis Call.
Otis, let's hear you.
Yes. If you are Stanton and Dr. Richardson, we have to be very serious in this country. That's some of the reason why I have problem with, Samuel Jackson. Every time he comes on this platform, he will boast of his past, and then we have not seen anything being done since the group who claim to have established institutions in the country, promoting democracy and all the kind of stuff. We have not seen nothing change. And when I listen to Ceebee Allen, I don't even expect Ceebee Allen to come on such a platform to make a boast of what he did, what he did not do. Where is the dividend? Where is the visibility of things that they do in the country? And we still see the country in rumble and people coming on the platform to boast. So, I really side with Dr. Richardson tonight because we, the younger generation, are the ones that are experiencing the kind of hegemony that these people have, brought to us. We have never had anything like rebel war in the country. We used to live cool.
My friend,
he confessed on the people that they established the NPP, brought war in the country and devastated everything. And you said on the platform, you're talking about somebody who established a political party, and you said the person is a leader.
Hello.
It's so disappointing.
All right,
so why you make of the alleged 600?
Yeah.
Hello.
What do you make of the alleged 600? He's off the line. Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Rubicon, and I call from Ghana very soon.
Let's hear you.
The issue of the alleged statement from Ceebee Allen, I don't go far because it's not worth discussion because until it's proven. But you see, I think there was an enlightenment that have been made tonight by Honorable Ceebee Allen, and it is clear for somebody to run a political party 4 years under a peaceful atmosphere, that partisan and other people remain committed to that particular person, and somebody will say it is nothing. I think we need to look at President Weah as an example for political leaders. Those who wanted to be a president, they should copy from that particular background. But the fact that Liberia is what we have. This man went as senators.
Thank you. You come back tomorrow. We'll give you 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. Take the last call.
What's your name?
Good evening.
Hello, what's your name?
Again?
No. Huh?
It's Famula.
Famula, let's hear you.
Yeah, the last time I called the Stone Foundation, the 6 news for the leisure of my daughter.
Yes, well.
Ever since I called a number, the woman who gave me a number, you just made fun of me up and now, very confused.
No, but let me ask you, who you call? You call Mariah?
Take my daughter medication.
When my man, hold on. Ask the man that the man who daughter got raped.
Hold on, listen to the CEO.
You the one that your daughter got raped?
Were you the one who daughter got raped?
Yeah. At the president, but since that time, I give me a number. I call the woman. She answered the call from that time. Of the man, when I call, she needed to pick up call again.
So, but here's the thing, my friend. I don't think that's right because Mariah refer you to an organization. The organization reached out and we referred the person to Dr. Siakamando. Dr. Siakamando called. So I don't know who else you calling. So if you're calling somebody different, I will ask Rufus to help you to get you to this person I'm talking about. And they can help you. Okay, that's what the foundation can do. Refer you to the proper group that will help you. So I think Mariah did extremely well. She called a group that responsible to take care of rape victims in the country. And the lady have called, she texted me, and I refer her to that doctor to help. That's the doctor that help all of our folks that are needing help in those situations. So Rufus going to take your number and he's going to help you through, okay?
So Chief.
Yeah.
So call your number.
0775
775. What?
90
76 28. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So Rufus, can you make sure that you connect him with the doctor, okay?
All right, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. On this note, we want to say we appreciate every one of you for joining Spoon tonight. Dr. Richardson, thank you for helping me out tonight, and please extend my disappointment to to Abraham Richardson. They beat his team like that straight dog. You know, you do not. You do not leave your home in New Jersey. Go as far as New York, Buffalo to go watch a game and they beat your team. His driving home would be like 8 hours home. His driving home would be like 8 hours home because he would be worrying about the game. And I said it yesterday.
I'll be right next to him. He won't be worried.
I know. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Have a good evening. Thank you a lot. So, Rufus, what the birthday gift, man? You know, we're going to say our late birthday thing to her. What's her name again? The birthday gift?
Maureen.
Maureen. Maureen. How old she turned? What's her age today?
8 years old.
Oh, you got 8 and you got 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless you, my brother. And say happy birthday to her. So at the end of the day, with our lady on, God can bless anybody, from my wife and myself to her as our birthday present, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, boss. James,
Yeah.
Thank you. I know it's kind of late. It's 12 midnight at your end, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so have a good night, James. Thank you very much for helping. See you guys tomorrow. We'll be having the Secretary General of NPP. And I will try to bring in Emmanuel Lomax as well, that we can discuss the NPP situation. And also this week, the government promised the folks that we're probably going to be having rest in the country. So everybody is looking. I got some folks on Popo Beach looking at the sea, Rufus, trying to figure out which way the ship coming from. You know. Oh, my man, what are you doing again, Rufus?
James is the one who's doing that.
James, meet yourself, man. So the guys the guys that looking at, they're on Popo Beach, right? They're looking at the sea, way in the sea. People claiming that, on Coast Guard base. People going in there just to look to make sure that the rest ship is coming. So the government promised us rest this week, by God's grace. Tuesday, Wednesday or so, the ship will be at the port. Let's just keep our finger crossed and make sure that rest is in the country. We're going to send a shout out to everybody that's celebrating birthday today. And we're going to send a big one to all of our families and friends. Thank you for joining us. Fedebara, Ruben, Draper, Prince, Blajay, Michael Smith, Sekou Sharif, Boyman passed away, Mavina Tier. Let's say one, James. Let's say one to Political Cooper pass away. We took him off the line.
No, it wasn't pass away. James, you created your own story. It wasn't pass away.
Oh, it wasn't him?
Yeah, but he sounded a pass away.
No. Pass away that my picking. I thought it was him. But guys, we said thank you very much. Till we meet again. May God bless you. May God keep you.
So
what? What'd you say?
We can't stop talking blessing about it, right?
No, James, you don't want to do that. You can go off. We'll do God can bless anybody. Okay. Pastor Rima is coming on.
Great.
You want to do God can bless anybody first, or you got to go?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I still have a lot of time. Last Sunday we did not do. We promised to do
let's
this
do God.
week.
Let's bless our folks. So reach out to Reverend Carlson or shout out to Pastor Raymond.
James, see your James question finished.
No, I get questions, but I get something to do. I have to wake up around 5-6 to
go, James, go. I'll be here. I still got more hours.
Yeah, the Bible question will finish. The Bible too big for your question to finish.
No, Bible question not finished, but I need to wake up around 6. I'm supposed to be somewhere by 7, and it's after 12.
Okay.
So I gotta go to bed now.
James, you can go to bed. Just send me the link. Let me restart.
That's a shame, James. The Bible question finished. Good night, man. All right. Send a link to Rufus. Send it to Pastor Raymond. And let's bless some folks tonight. God bless you guys.
Okay, Rufus wants to know you just share with him. I don't have his contact. All right, bro. Thank you. I'm sending the link right now. Why are you laughing? I get enough questions on the phone. Rufus, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you later. Hold with me on Monday.